The jump circle?
장난해? 장난해? 이게 새로운 컨텐츠야? 원래 매기는 게임이긴 하지만 참 이제 껌점프 못해? 야 스탠리 페러블 가도록 하겠습니다. 이거 옛날에 했던 게임이고 되게 유명한 게임인데 이제 새로 약간 업글 돼서 나왔나봐요. 그죠? 울트라 디럭스 버전으로 가격도 업글되고 제가 옛날에 본가 시절에 했었는데 그때 재밌게 했었어요. 근데 기억은 잘 안 나. 해물 누룽지사님 10개월 구독 감사합니다. 예전에 해본 적이 있으신가요? 왜 물어봐. 거짓말 하고 싶네. 있긴 있어요. 근데 얘 나오고 약간 뭐야 현재 시각까지 입력해야 돼? 지금이 4시 7분이네요 특등문의 감사합니다. 자, 오늘의 게임은 스탠리 페러블 울트라 디럭스. 자, 요거 보시면 이제 약간 뭔가 이 액자식 구성 딱 바로 이게 힌트가 있죠? 이 게임이 무슨 게임인가. 이 게임 장르는 이제 스탠리 페러블이고요. 이 게임 제목은 스탠리 페러블입니다. 가면은 이제 게임 속에 게임이 스탠리 페러블 하고 있고 게임 속에 게임이 또 스탠리 페러블 하고 있죠? 들어가 봅시다. The end is never.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
이 목소리는 그대로인 건가?
Number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through
누가 업무를 한 손으로 해.
telling him what buttons to push, how long
한
to
손으로만 해도 되는 업무인 거야?
and in what order.
아 진짜네.
This is what employee 427 did every day.
이거 하고 월급 받는 거야? 좋은 걸까 안 좋은 걸까?
And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
자 이제 게임이 시작된 거죠. 매일매일 지루한 일만 하던 스탠리 씨. 하지만 오늘은 뭔가 이상하다. 어떻게 된 일일까요? 자, 갑자기 이제 나레이션이 저한테 할 걸 막 지시를 하죠. 난 일이 좋아. 내 상사가 싫을 뿐. 여기 뽀님 자리인가? 아 졸림 자리구나. 436번 기억해놨습니다. 취준생님 감사합니다. 자, 회의실로 일단 가라는데 회의실로 가면 되겠지? 월요일 싫어. 회의실이 어디야? 이거 약간 기억 나는 것 같다. 왼쪽 문으로 갔습니다. 이러면 이제 오른쪽 가야지. 어쩔 수가 없어요. 어쩔 수가 없어. 미안해.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
저기 사원 휴게실이 어딘데? 여긴가?
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room.
뭔가 여기 학교 같은데?
Here, drinking it all in.
뭐 마셨다고? 안 마실 건데? 싫어. 안 마실래. 이게 하라는 대로 하기가 싫단 말이죠, 그죠? 어쩔 수 없어.
Eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
일하러 가는 건 아니긴 한데. 여긴 뭘까?
And so he detoured through the maintenance section walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
아, 이렇게 오면은 저건가? 그 원래 방향? 근데 여기서 또 이거 누를 수 있나?
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track.
맞아요.
So now in order to get back, he needed to go
굉장히 밤님 감사합니다.
From here it's left.
어디? 이쪽? 아 근데 치사하게 여기만 열어줘.
Oh, no.
아!
No, it's to the right. My mistake.
여기도 또 다
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute?
약간 내 말 안 듣는다고 지금 나 갈구는 것 같은데. 빨리 열어줘.
Let's see, we went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
여기야? 이건 뭐야? 이거 안에 사람 있는 것 같은데? 차 불 열어놨는데?
나레이션 부드러운 영국 발음 되게 듣기 좋다.
No.
Oh.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to who am
해고됨?
I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole
해적?
story
그건
completely
뭐야?
unusable. How about rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
원래 처음부터 이랬나? 이거 그거라 그런가? 아까 해봤다 그래서 그런가?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
회의실. 그럼 말 들어서 회의실 한번 가볼까?
When Stanley... Wait, what?
어?
No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change?
문이 열려줘야지. 아니 말
Did you
들으려 했는데
change
이번엔.
anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley.
다 열었네?
Find the story.
이러면 어디로 가야 되지? 이러면 어디로 가야 제일 사람들이 선택 안 한 길일까? 나의 홍모병을 만족시켜줄 수 있는 길은 어디일까? 가장 사람이 선택 안 한 곳으로 가고 싶다. 아, 여기일까? 여기일까? 같이 이어지는 거인 것 같고. 여기일까? 아니면 원래 갔어야 됐던 왼쪽 문? 오히려 여기가 제일... 아니야, 여기 많을 것 같아. 그럼 여기가 제일 적지 않을까?
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again?
아니.
Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why
다시
not?
돌아왔는데? 뭐야? 아니 왜 다시 리셋해? 아니 자기 맘대로 해. 옛날에 뭔가 달라진 것 같기도 하고 그냥 기억이 안 나는 것 같기도 하고.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back
처음에
where
그냥
we
말
just
들을 걸.
came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
문을 열어줘야 가지. 살려줘.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something.
이런 방이
The
있었나?
story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
왜 이래?
Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations!
아니, 이게 너무 빨리 나온다. 전에 해봤다고 해가지고.
Really paid off. So, good job.
원래 이 빌드업이 좀 있었던 것 같은데.
Oh no, no, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations.
원래 이게 이렇게 빨리 나왔나?
I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care
저거
what might
내려가서
happen this
그런가?
time. I have to restart.
아씨, 계속 리셋해.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
따라갈게 그냥. 그냥 따라갈게. 진짜로 그냥 네 말 들을게.
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood. Cut the music, go back and look at that fern.
뭐야?
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
또 여기야? 또 여기야?
No, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
또 다시 해? 그거 왜 안 해?
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
어디? 뒤쪽으로? 여기? 여기를 열어준 건가? 뭐지? 어디로 간 거? 뭐 열는 소리가 났는데? 아, 이쪽.
Now, yes, this is exciting.
잘
Just
보이시나요?
me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new
뭔가
story.
약간 급하게 진행이 되는 것 같다. 내가 그 얘를 눌러서 그런가 봐. 안 해봤다고 할 걸.
We should be fine.
아니면 처음부터 너무 말을 안 듣고 저기로 갔나? 옛날이랑 좀 느낌이 다른데? 뭔가?
A choice. We get to make a decision. From here,
아,
the
원래
story is
이
in
맛이
our
아닌데
control.
뭔가 맛이 좀
How
이상한 것 같다.
important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute.
아니, 나
Okay.
이거 하라고?
So I know
아,
that
하기
each
싫어.
door has to lead somewhere. Which means that
나도 모르게 이거
somewhere
뺑뺑
the place
돌려고
where
했어.
we're trying to
아, 근데
go,
약간 정하기
it must
힘든데?
be a reverse door
돌고 싶은데?
that leads here. And that in turn means that our
뭐라는
destination
거야?
corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going?
몰라.
Since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny.
그래서 여기서 오른쪽이
awaits.
어딘데? 여기가 오른쪽인 거야? 혼란 엔딩? 뭐야?
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling
지금
me
내가 혼란
that's what
엔딩이라는
this
건가?
is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it.
하게 될걸?
And the timer stopped. Does that mean did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay.
뭐
I guess now we just wait. You know,
그냥
I
기다리려고.
suppose in some
뭔가
way,
맛이
that this is
좀
a
안
kind of
사는데?
story, wouldn't you
그거를
agree?
얘를 눌러서
I'm
너무
not quite sure if we're in the
뭔가 많이
destination
스킵이 된 것
or the
같아요.
journey. Though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you
아 깜짝이야. 또 리셋됐죠? 리셋 되기 싫다 그랬는데. 나레이토 씨.
all of his co-workers were gone, what could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
다시 맨
Perhaps he
처음인가?
had simply missed a memo.
완전 맨 처음인가? 방금 엔딩을 보고 온 거야 내가?
When Stanley came to a set of two
일단 얘가
open
하라는 대로
doors,
하자.
he entered the door on his left.
왼쪽으로 갔어. 그리고 여기가 회의실인가? 여기가
Yet
회의실인가
there was
보다.
not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
내일 할 일, 오늘 처리 못한 일 끝내기, 내일의 일 작성, 반복. 내일은 없다. 오늘이 내일이다. 종이 복사할 사람 고용하기. 종이를 너무 많이 복사했어. 그놈 해고해. 종이 복사하는 놈. 해고할 사람 구하기. 이 슬라이드에 슬라이드겠어. 개 의미 없네. 사람들이 원하는 건 뭐지? 한 슬라이드에서 같은 정보를 나타내는 차트 비율. 아무 의미 없죠? 한 슬라이드당 그래프 증가율. 차트는 이제 그만. 사장 감사 회의록은 뭐야? 사장이 가장 좋아하는 20가지 항목에 동그라미 그려놓으십시오. 대인관계 갈등 해결하기. 다른 성실한 직원과 갈등을 겪는 자신을 발견한다면 싸움을 하려면 두 사람이 필요하다는 걸 기억하라. 그리고 당신이 그 두 사람이다. 내가 참으란 소린가? 해고당하지 않는 꿀팁. 말 적게 하기. 승진이나 인정받을 기대하지 말고 믿을 수 없을 만큼 매일 엄청난 일 해내기. 해고당하지 않기. 동료와 분쟁을 해결하는 법. 속으로 욕하고 다니기. 다른 동료에게 소극적으로 공격성 드러내기. 더는 자신을 돕지 않는 동료를 원망하기. 슬라이드로 모든 게 순조롭다는 걸 직원에게 확인시켜라. 반드시 슬라이드 제목에 번들거리는 파란 그래픽을 입히고 텍스트에 입체 효과를 넣는다. 아무튼 이런 회사에서
Coming
일을
to
하고
a
있었어?
staircase, Stanley walked
말
upstairs to
들을게요.
his boss's office.
말 들을게. 이게 원래 여기가 화장실인가? 아 이거 화장실. 야 화장실 개 좋아. 만약 사장이 손해를 봤다면 그건 사장이 선택한 일이고 사장은 자신이 한 말을 사장 스스로 알고 있기 때문이지. 뭔 소리야? 극한의 화장실. 화장실 너무 먼 거 아니야? 여기가 사장실인가? 와, 방 개 좋아. 친구 왜 이렇게
Staring into his
넓어?
manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human
사장님 어디
life.
갔죠?
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his
이게-
boss had been keeping from him.
이게 뭐가
And so the
있다고?
boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't
전
put it
전 아는데요?
by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad. Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck.
그치, 운으로 천운으로 이런
He
거죠.
stepped
누가
into the
알려준 거
newly
아니죠?
opened passageway.
나레이터랑 나랑 별개의 세계라고. 야, 어떻게 이걸 한 번에 맞췄지, 스탠리? 대단해. 어? 그냥 이렇게 떨어지는 건가? 아, 나 여기 저건 줄 알았네. 낭떠러진 줄 알았네.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
목숨을 건 스탠리.
Stanley walked straight
깜짝이야.
ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
탈출구. 근데 나 말 잘 듣는 컨셉이야 이번에. 말을 잘 안 들으면은 이게 갑자기 뭔가 이해가 안 되게
The
진행이
lights
돼가지고.
rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold?
내가 할
Stanley
생각까지 다
thought to
해주네
himself.
대신.
Did he have the strength to find out?
알아냈어. 옆에 뭔가 있어. 여긴 도대체 뭐 하는 곳이야? 이 회사는 도대체 뭐 하는 곳이야?
Now the monitors jumped to
아,
life.
여기
Their
여기로 온
true nature
거구나
revealed.
다시.
Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen.
목 아프겠다. 이
And
화면 이렇게
Stanley,
보려면.
one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
427번이 스텔리죠? 뭐가 내 자리인 거지? 뭐야, 계단에서 일하는 동료도 있는 거야 저기?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
그래? 그래 끄자. 그럼 이제 자유의 스텔리인 건가?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty.
아 근데 진짜
Was it over?
나레이션 듣기 좋다.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's
그래?
command.
맞아?
Freedom was mere moments away.
맞아?
And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him.
나가는 건가?
For it was not knowledge or even
감사합니다.
power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation,
이게 맞나?
the immense possibility of the new path before him.
얼떨떨하지?
This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
맞아? 행복한 스탠리 맞아? 이거 맞아? 이거 도전과제는 생겼거든요? 게임을 깼다는 도전과제? 이거 맞아?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the
다시?
meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
새로운 콘텐츠 여기로 갈 수밖에 없는.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
그러게 무슨 뜻일까? 새 컨텐츠라는 게 그러니까 방금까지가 저거 됐던 게 방금 한 게 원본을 엄청 빠르게 간 것 같아요. 원래 원본이 되게 그 뭐야 빌드업이 잘 돼 있어가지고 이거 보면은 막 흥미로운 그런 느낌이 엄청 들었던 것 같은데 지금 이제 울트라 디럭스가 나와서 그걸 또 하기 싫은 사람들을 위해 빠르게 넘겨준 것 같은 느낌이에요. 확실하진 않아요. 저도 옛날에 했던 게 기억이 잘 안 나서. 여기부터가 이제 울트라 디럭스인 건가? 그냥 아니요 누를 걸 그랬어. 지금 너무 얼떨떨해. 이게 맞는 건지 아닌 건지 그냥 찝찝하게만 하네. 아 그래요?
설문조사는 게임 진행이랑
아 원래 이랬어 그럼? 원래 이랬어? 나만 상상 속의 스탠리 패러블을 비교하고 있던 건가?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra
원래
Deluxe.
이랬어? 그래?
As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on
갑자기 역사
home
공부하네.
computers.
목소리 바뀌었어. 다시 돌아와요.
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
9년 전이네. 9년 전.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited
Yeah,
to see
just-
the thrilling new ultra deluxe content.
약간 음질이라 그래야 돼. 목소리 약간 다르다. 나중에 녹음한 건가 봐요, 이거는. 그죠? 아까랑 약간
Okay,
살짝
so
달라.
far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
네, 이 아저씨 목소리가 들려요. 뭔가 안정감이 들어. 그래서 모험 언제 시작하는데.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready.
킹받지, 근데?
Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
컨텐츠 뭐 있을 거라고 기대는 안 되는데. 새로운
Alright.
컨텐츠.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
장난해? 장난해? 이게 새로운 컨텐츠야? 이거 게임 얼마였지 이거? 가격이 막 배가 됐거든요 이거? 울트라 디럭스? 뭐야? 원래 매기는 게임이긴 하지만 참 이제 껌점프 못해? 야 이거 얼마지? 이거 한 3만원 4만원 했던 것 같은데? 3, 4만원짜리 게임이 점프 횟수 정해져 있어서 더 못해?
원래는 점프 없어서 막 비벼서 올라가긴 했었음.
감사합니다. 아니 이거 다 하면 뭐 넘어가고 더 생기는 게 아니라 그냥 이 게임에서 쓸 수 있는 점프 횟수였네 그냥 진짜로. 판때기도 성의가 없죠?
선아선아 스탠리 패러블
미디님
너무 좋아.
구경해서 감사합니다. 이런 맛이긴 해 근데.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
약간 뭐랄까 욕쟁이 할머니 집이라고 해야 될까?
Goodness. Another
약간
elevator.
열받으려고
Stanley,
보는 거죠.
I have to say, initial
열받-
impressions of this game are not positive.
약간 선바 유튜브라고
It's
해야
just
될까?
elevators and jumping.
빡칠
Is this
거
what
알면서
causes
일단
for
키는
exciting
거지.
new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something
다
else.
개그를 하고
Let's see
싶은
it.
건지
I'm ready for
다른
whatever it
게임을
is.
까고 싶은 건지 아니면 둘 다 하는 건지 모르겠네. 새로운 건
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other
DLC
than to make
파는
an
회사들
easy
까는
dollar.
거야?
And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too
쫓아가서
much
욕하는
anticipation around the
것까지.
new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset
또
the
리셋해?
game? And we'll try to get back to what the
또
Stanley
리셋해?
Parable is really
진짜
about.
끝이야 점프
No
36번?
frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
옛날 스탠리 패러블 확실히 또 설마 또 동료들이 사라졌습니다. 어떻게 된 일일까요, 뭔가? 아니다. 맞는 것 같기도 하고. 맵이 여기 여기로 가야 되는데? 맵이 바뀌었습니다. 어떻게 된 일일까요?
Psst, Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
일단 부르면 가야지. 정이 들어버렸기 때문에. 뭐야 이건? 커피? 이거 왜 여기 있죠? 와우.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't
이런 게
find
있었나
it.
옛날에?
Just our little secret. Take a
이야.
look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life
추억의 공간.
whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
저 글씨체 진짜 저거 같은데 무슨 감성 카페 글씨체인데 저거? 아니 이거 뭐 추억팔이야? 잊지 말도록 달콤한 추억 열어줘.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it
라떼는
all meant
말이야.
something. Oh, the waste.
라떼는 말이야 게임이 다 갓겜이었다 이 말이야. 2014년 관객상을 받았었나? 그런가 보네. 이건 뭐야? 게임 CD인가? 퍼스트 에디션. 이렇게 팔았나 본데? 처음에? 이건 뭐죠? 영국 영화 텔레비전 아카데미. 근데 이거는 라스트 오브 어스를 지우고 스탠리 패러블을 붙여놨는데? 라오 왜 지워? 원은 명작인데? 좋았던 한때. 진짜 좀 저거같이 해놨네. 그 막 박물관 같은데 가면 있는 그런 디자인으로 해놨네. 이 아저씨가 성우 아저씨인가? 시계 지금 이 시간 아니죠. 8시 아닌데. 오리지널 맨 처음에 이렇게 팔았던 건가? 지금까지는 근데 진짜 내용이 없는데? 그냥 우리 옛날에 참 좋았지 약간 이건데 그냥? 1달러는 왜 있는 거야? 데모 달성 불가능. 이 도전 과제는 달성 이런 것도 있었어? 진짜 열받는 짓은 근데 많이 해놨다. 5년 동안 플레이하지 마십시오. 이거 나 달성 됐으려나? 맞아 이런 게 있어. 5년 동안 플레이하지 마십시오. 약간 그래서 이 게임이 그래도 되게 그 뭐랄까 게임사에 있어서 빼놓을 수 없는 게이밍인 거죠. 혁신 부문 이런 거 상 받을만해. 혁신상 이런 거 받을만해. 데뷔 게임 부분 서사 부문 받을만해 솔직히. 뉴욕타임스 이거는 이거는 구라 같죠? 새로운 비디오 게임 발매되다. 뉴욕타임스. 대학들은 가난한 학생들을 위해 덜 노력한다. 50% 할인 명품 모자. 하지만 작은 생명체가 나머지 절반을 소유합니다. 50% 싸게 해주는 대신 모자를 나눠 갖는 거야? 2명이랑? 그건 할인이 아닌데 그냥 둘이 사는 건데. 저 그림은 뭐지? 로스앤젤레스 타임스. 아니 이건 또 뭐야?
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like
좀
the stunning
민망한데?
triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game
너무
ever
뽕에
created.
취한 거 아니야?
That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk
소야방님
with an hour
감사합니다.
of new elevator content.
일단 약간 근본 그 제작자들은 DLC 이런 거 싫어하고 그죠? 게임 시장이 많이 바뀌긴 했지 이때랑 지금이랑 생각해보면. 뭔가 작품으로 나오는 게임이 이거는 포탈 아닌가? 찾기가 힘들어지는 것도 맞는 것 같기도 하고 또 생각보다 많이 나오는 것 같기도 한데 잘 모르겠네요. 아무튼 그래서 자학을 그냥 하고 싶은 거야 뭐야? 뭐가 하고 싶은 거죠? 계속 약간 자랑하는 거 약간 민망하기도 하고. 나 2013년에 막 상 받았다 이거 자랑하는 거 좀 듣는 거 좀 민망하기도 하고. 10점 만점에 10점.
Here's another moving passage, this
뭐야?
time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
그러니까 이거 약간 왜 하냐고 하는 것 같은데 지금?
대한 압박감에 흑화한 개발자의
그러니까 이은이 감사합니다. 아니 완벽한 원조 스탠리를 해야지 왜 지금 이걸 들어와가지고.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again.
얼마나
Hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these
여기
in years.
언따봉
I
평가
can't
다
even
모아놓은 거
imagine
아니야?
what's been
악플 읽기
collected
하나?
down here.
문 열어봐.
Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
문 열어봐.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the
악플 아이디까지 박제했어. 저거 진짜 아이디인가?
Such a densely layered web of
엄청
profound
속상했나 본데?
philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
개웃기네. 악플 아예 박제를 해버렸네. 저 악플도 진심으로 쓴 것 같은데. 저거 말고는 없나?
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can.
맞죠?
This is actually quite
완전
shocking for me.
얘기만 하고
I
사실
always, well, to be
따라가는
honest, I have
게임이지.
always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to.
진짜 이 아저씨 목소리가 너무 잘 어울려 이 게임이랑.
Unimpeachable track record. I feel
계속 쭈글거리는데 듣기도 좋고.
like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I
왜 그래? 왜 그래 진짜 뭐 같이 악플 읽기라고 했어. 어? 왜 그래?
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
그래도 10시간이나 했네.
Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too
10시간이면
preachy,
거의
then
모든 걸 다 깰 수
maybe
있지 않나 이
letting
게임?
you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
이게 스킵 버튼이야?
And here it is. Go. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations. Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was...
몇 시간 지난 거지?
I want to say maybe
30분을
30,
스킵했어?
45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means. Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12
12시간이
hours.
지났다고?
You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer. And my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone.
조용.
Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back.
몇
Oh,
시간?
my goodness. I have
몇
someone to
시간
talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week.
일주일? 이거 나 시들었네.
I've been sitting here all that
2주일,
time.
일주일?
Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with.
뭐 어쩌라고요?
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you
시간이
and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time.
플리핑 한 개도 안
I stopped
남았는데?
keeping track.
1년?
Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire
1년이
year?
지났다고?
Let me describe it for you.
어쩌라고? 100년 보내. 아저씨? 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 아저씨 어디 갔어? 아저씨! 뒤에 숨었나? 없는데?
어쩔 스킵?
코라님 감사합니다. 아저씨 죽었어? 아이 뭘 죽어요? 안 죽어 아저씨. 또 누르면 올 거야. 헉? 뭐야? 무슨 소리야? 시계 멈췄어. 어디서 나는 소리야? 아저씨 없으니까 너무 심심하다. 뭐 어디서 나는 소리야? 삐삐 소리? 뭐야? 이쯤인가? 어디서 나는 소리임? 모르겠다. 넘겨.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review.
야, 이거 악플 남기면 큰일
we get these
나겠는데?
demands that seek everything
악플은
and
함부로
are
남기면
accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say,
써먹혀야겠다.
oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley parable. We demand it.
조용히 해. 아저씨, 아니 어디 갔다 그렇게 열이 받아가지고 원래 천장이 저랬나? 근데 진짜 억울했나봐. 억울함이 느껴지는데요? 재미있게 해달라고 하고 말이 너무 많다서 짜증난다고 하니까 어쩌라는 거야. 이건 억가야라고 느꼈나 본데? 아니 말을 해야 재미있고 말이 너무 많은 게 싫으면 재미를 바라지 말라고. 약간 일관성 있게, 약간 뼈가 있는데? 진짜 쭝얼거리는 게 아니라 일관성 있게 바라라고. 아니 그래서
The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end.
아저씨 이제 나가요. 이제 나가요. 이제 그만하고 나가요. 이제 그만하고 나가요 제발. 물 샌다. 야 이거 물 새가지고 지붕이 무너질려나 이거? 한 번 누를 때마다 이거 몇 년이 흐르는 걸까? 이 가지는 근데 계속 살아있네요? 무너졌어. 한 번 더 누르면 죽을지도 모르겠는데? 건물 무너졌는데? 이제 바깥이 보여. 여기 그 나무 있던 거 그냥 매몰돼 버려가지고 이제 남은 게 없습니다. 생태계가 조성이 됐는데? 시간이 흐르니까 역시 사람이 없으니까 자연은 번성한다. 이거 그래가지고 뭐 나가는 길은, 아저씨 어디 갔어요? 아저씨 진짜 죽은 거 아니야? 라고 했는데 다시 또 없어졌어. 무서워졌어. 지금 세상이 망하고 있나? 밖에 무슨 일이 생긴 거죠? 여기 무너지고 있는데? 이 건물 자체가? 와, 진짜 스킵 버튼 만들어 달라고 하면 이렇게 되는 거구나. 이 약간 저 사람 좀 도라이 같은데? 라고 생각이 됐을 때 그 사람한테 뭘 요구하면 큰일 난다는 교훈을 얻었네요. 그죠? 스킵 버튼 만들어 달라고 그러면 이렇게 되는 거구나. 다 생각이 있어서 안 만든 거다 이 말이야. 그래서 아저씨 어딨어? 아저씨 어딨어? 아저씨! 시간이 앞섭니다. 스탠리 패러블은 완벽한 작품이라고. 스킵 버튼 같은 거 요구하면 안 된다고. 모든 것은 다 의도된 장면이라고. 아저씨 돌아오나? 저것도 하나의 엔딩이었나?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
또 뭐 생겼어? 새로운 컨텐츠가 또 생겼나 본데요?
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting
왜요?
to show you.
보여주세요. 아저씨랑 이제 정이 든다니까. 이번엔 그거 안 하나? 광고 방송 안 하나?
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra
너무 다른 게임 까는 거 아니야?
mean. But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
새로운 머그잔.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
이게 스탠리 패러블 2야? 그냥 무슨 저 게임 축제 이런 거 온 거 같은데? 게임을 플레이하는 플레이어의 이름을 말하는 버튼, 새로운 것, 독점작, 당신의 멋진 이름을 게임에서 들으세요. 이게 2에서 제공하는
For the
새로운
Stanley
기능인가요?
Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
내 이름 알아?
Jim.
어?
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as
내가 뭐
Jim,
짐이 되라고?
sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now?
네.
If so, then
아니 내
please
이름을
step
불러준 게
forward
아니라
and press the
나를
button.
짐으로 세뇌시킨 다음에 짐이라고 부른다고? 아니 내 이름은 김이야, 짐이 아니라.
Jim.
Yes, you see? What a thrill, what a rush. That was you. The button described you. Do it again, do it again.
짐.
Jim.
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the
게임하니
money.
9개월 구독
Let's take a
감사합니다.
break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation. I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
공짜로 새롭고 쉬운 도전과제 얻기. 여기서 받아가세요. 그냥 바로 달성돼요. 이쪽이야? 레버를 당기면 도전과제가 달성이 되는 거야?
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology
아니,
that
준다며?
will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
이게 뭔가 남을 깔려는 건지 자학객을 하려는 건지 모르겠어. 왜냐면 요즘 하도 그 막 후속작 뭐 낸다 그러고 안 내고 막 이런 게 많다 보니까 이게 남을 깔려는 건지 자학을 하려는 건지 알 수가 없네. 뭔가 약간 웃기기도 하고 뭔가 불편한 것 같기도 하고.
What other exhibits haven't we seen
뭐
yet?
남았는데 새로운 요소 저긴가? 찾을 수 있을까요? 찾을 수 있을까요? 수집 요소. 오, 여긴 뭔데?
Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's
Stanley
truly
Parable
innovative
저기
is that
어디
there will
있는데?
be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
저기 쭉 가면 되는 건가? 저걸 주스면 되는 건가? 이거 뭐야? 사람들이었어? 이런 거 6개를 찾으라고?
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
끝없는 구멍. 이건 뭐야? 여기 또 있네 이거. 근데 이거 아까 써가지고 못해.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh wait, you already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
그럼 못해? 투인데? 아니 투인데? 아니 아까 건 울트라 디럭스고 이번 건 투잖아. 어? 투인데 점프했어도 복구를 안 해준단 말이야? 너무한데 이 게임. 이쪽으로 올라가는 건가? 설정하기 세계 챔피언은 뭐야? 여기는 안 열리는 방인가? 점프가 그러니까 안 되는 게 너무 빡쳐. 여기서 좀 점프하고 싶은데 다닐 때 얼마나 편해요. 점프가 있으면. 스크린샷 금지.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
됐고 문이나 열어줘요. 이쪽인가? 이 중에 하나 골라야 되는 거야? 언젠간 잘 될 거야. 12살 생일 축하한다 조카 녀석아. 저는 이게 좋은 것 같습니다.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get Well Someday it is.
아니 아니 나는 이게 좋다고. 12살 생일 축하한다 조카 녀석아가 좋다고.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
후에는 이렇게 바꾸는. 와 멋있다 이쁘다. 진짜 회사 분위기 확 난다 그죠? 언젠간 잘 될 거야. 풍선이 이렇게 달려있는 회사. 진짜 리얼한데? 스탠리 패러블 2는 정말 재밌겠는걸? 뭐가 떨어져 있는 거죠? 모든 일시정지 버튼은 로마 숫자 2이다. 뭐가 남은 거지? 아까 무한 구멍이랑 양동이? 무슨 안정감을 주는 양동이 뭐 그런 거 있었는데? 이쪽인가? 아까도 아 일로 가다가 막힌 거구나. 콘크리트로 명상하기. 세상 애구멍이나. 뭐 이렇게.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling.
진짜? 계속?
You can fall until the end of time if
계속?
you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
무한으로 쭉 내려간다고? 슉? 계속 내려가고 있는 거야?
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say
어째서?
so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to
텔레포트
the
버튼이
top,
어디 있는데?
and we can continue onward.
아, G.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
뭔가 방이 바뀐 것 같은데? 아, 아닌가? 근데 끝까지 한번 무한히 내려가나 이걸 또 실험을 해보고 싶잖아? 그죠?
Okay, and I guess we're back in the hole now. Did you really need to see it again? I don't know what else there is to say, Stanley. It's an infinite hole. It's exactly what you're doing right now, but forever. There really are so many other fascinating exhibits that I prepared for you.
바닥에
I
뭔가
really
보일 것
spent quite a
같기도
lot
한데?
of time on all this, and I would very much like to
이렇게
show you
천천히
some
떨어지냐?
more of them. How about we go ahead and press that teleport button again so we can get back to what's really important about... Oh, goodness. Well, this is rather embarrassing, Stanley. I'll be honest with you. I truly did not believe that anyone would actually stay in the
아니,
hole
담배
long
꽁초는
enough
뭔데,
to
이거?
hit the bottom. Yes, I know. I told you the hole was infinite, but come on. Who actually wants to fall forever? The hole was plenty deep. It was more than deep enough, in my opinion. Maybe it's you who likes falling too much. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to walk up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when
동의할
you're
수밖에
ready.
없잖아. 이거 전혀 무한의 구멍 아닌데 동의를 할 수밖에 없네. 어쩔 수 없죠. 인정 안함. 사실 구라임. 인정 안함. 절대 무한의 구멍 아님. 이행님 1,000원 감사합니다. QR 코드가 있어요? 제 표정이 원래 저랬나? 뭔가 부금이 생겼다 갑자기? 일로 가면 나가는 데인가?
Oh, goodness, Stanley,
Uh-oh.
this is fairly awkward. I hate to do this, but before you leave, you really should go to the bucket exhibit. You see, there's a surprise I was going to spring on you later, and it involves the bucket. And I really do hate to break the illusion, but it's important that you go see the bucket, okay?
아, 저기 있네.
All right, I'll get out of your hair now.
아, 이거 찍으면 뭐 나오나? 이거 QR 찍으면 뭐 나오나요? 한번 찍어볼까? 이거 내 화면이 찍히는데? 무서워. 제가 여기 나와요. 보여요? 제가 여기 이렇게 나와요. 여기 들어가면은 제 얼굴이 이거 어떻게 찍었지? 방송 화면을 어떻게 찍었지 근데? 방송 화면을 어떻게 찍었지? 그냥 스샷도 아니고? 무서워. 그만 양동이가 여긴가? 여기? 여러분이 QR을 찍어도 저기 제가 나와요? 아 진짜?
Complaint of the Stanley Parable was that
어떻게
it
한
was
거야?
confusing and
화면보다
paradoxical,
선바님 이름도
that it
거기 밑에
engendered a
있습니다.
진짜요?
chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm
김선으로 나온다고? 어떻게 한 거야?
and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on
아니,
to the
개무서운데?
bucket, the
뭐야?
many disorienting contradictions of the
힘에서
Stanley
따오는 건가?
Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
이 양동이가 뭔데 이거? 양동이에서 나는 소리야?
Can you feel it?
아닌데?
The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they?
이건 또 무슨
한나처럼
this and
머리에
more
써주세요.
await you in
짱만만
the Stanley
감사합니다.
Parable too.
이거 또 뭐하는 양동이야 이건? 갑자기 이걸로 무슨 게르마늄 팔찌처럼 그러네. 아니 근데 이거 무서워.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
이거 무서움. 이거 방송 화면은 어떻게 잡는 거지? 방송을 하고 있으면은 그 화면이 찍히게끔 되나? 그냥 스샷도 아니고. 뭐야 이제 집에 가면 되나? 스크린샷 금지인데 스크린샷 찍으면
PC로 한
어떻게
보여주세요.
될까? PC로 보여달라는 게 뭔 말이죠? 잠깐만 그냥 나가면 되나? 나 이것 때문에 저거를 못 읽었네. 그 아기가 성인이다. 그냥 아기인데? 뭐야 이거 언제 바뀌었어 이름. 원래 당신의 이름을 불러주는 버튼이었는데 갔다 오니까 다시 솔직하게 바뀌었는데? 당신은 앞으로 짐이라 불리게 됩니다. 그냥 내가 짐임. 아니 여기 출구가 어디야? 이제 나가도 되는 거 아니야? 저기네.
지마
뜬금없니 감사합니다. 난 이제 짐이야. 이건 뭐지? 이런 게 있었나? 원래 아까도? 가방이 떨어져 있네? 약간 이런 거
So,
없었던 것
Stanley,
같은데?
what do you think? Do you like all of the new features?
아니요.
Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the
진짜 만들어주는
Stanley
거야?
Parable 2.
오 깜짝이야. 이게 스탠리 패러블 2야? 그냥 아까 거 그냥 하나씩 있는 거잖아.
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right?
이걸로 뭘
It's
섞어내면 돼,
sort of-
도대체.
Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a
아까 본
different
거 전부 다
arrangement.
그냥
Okay, yes. Yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
뭐가 달라진 거지?
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it.
그게 지금 이거잖아.
Of course, with respect, with care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could, but it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
그래도 그럴싸하네. 스탠리 패러블 2가 진짜 나왔다면 이런 느낌이었을까? 방제 바꿔야겠네요. 패러블 2입니다. 자, 시작해볼까요? 들어가면 근데
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
처음부터
Stanley worked.
저기 진짜 이거 달아났네.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
언젠간 잘 될 거야. 이 양동이 왔네.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
양동이 뭐에 쓰는 건데 이거? 왜 이번에는 저기 없지? 뉴 컨텐츠로 유혹하는 그 문이 없는 것 같다? 양동이가 이제 그건가?
Stanley
뉴
clutched the
컨텐츠인가?
bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
싫어.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the
양동이가 날
place to
불렀다고?
be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
그래?
And so the two of them
이건 정말
detoured
완벽한
through the
소평이야.
maintenance section and walked straight
뭐냐,
ahead to the
감사합니다.
opposite door.
다시 여긴가?
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
똑같은데?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the
양동이만
boss's office.
추가됐잖아. 완전 똑같아 지금. 설마 비번도 똑같나?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
아니 그냥
Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
그냥 모든 게 다 양동이님 덕이야? 이거 뭐야?
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done.
그래도 다
You
섞어놓긴
can't buy
했네.
that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
무한히 떨어지는 구멍이 나와야 될 차례인데. 이게 그대로잖아요. 그냥 양동이만 하나 들고 있지 뭐.
The elevator raced downward,
똑같잖아요.
plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control
이번엔
Facility.
탈출구로 가볼까?
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
그래? 그래도 일로 가보고 싶은데? 뭐가 달라진 거야?
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around
말하니까
and
더 가기
get back
싫죠?
on track.
점프하고 싶은데 점프가 안 되죠?
Stanley and the bucket
36번
were
다
knowingly
써가지고.
walking forward into a very painful death for each of
이거
them.
하니까 이것도 도전 과제 있네. 점프 못합니다. 도전 과제. 이거 뭐야? 이거 설마 그건가? 무한히 떨어지는 구멍?
지금 좋아요 실시간으로 내용 업데이트 되고 있어요. 디도 도망당하는 중.
그래요? 어떻게 그럴 수가 있는 거야? 아니 이거 너무 무서운데?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's
들어가서
warmth
죽는
and
거야?
comfort had turned out to be.
아닌데
To
왼쪽으로
be
꺾일 것
sure,
같은데
it puts the
길이?
mind and the soul at ease to embrace the
아니네.
bucket. But what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
이렇게 죽는 거야? 막아! 막았죠?
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
새로운 목소리인데요?
In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death.
양동이 괜찮은데? 오!
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
뭐 양동이한테 왜 자꾸 이러는 거야? 그냥 그러려니 하면 되나? 갑자기 왜 양동이
Can
세상이
you see
돼버린
how
거죠?
arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the
25
bucket
개보다
is
훨씬 많아
far more
보이는데?
noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
손잡이가 2개인 양동이. 이거 만들려다가 사형에 처했어? 불지옥 양동이. 이거 하나 하려고 수십 개의 국가가 전쟁을 했어? 그렇구나. 양동이가 대단한 거구나. 동굴 벽화. 인류보다 양동이가 먼저 존재했구나. 그렇구나.
쓸데없이
No man
짱만
could
많이
own a
감사합니다.
bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
매달린 양동이. 인류는 양동이 손에 넣을 수가 없구나. 이렇게 내려가면은 저건가? 챙겼는데? 나 여기 끝없는 구멍 거긴 줄?
But there is
젤리님
something we
감사합니다.
can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
짜부터서 죽은 거야? 스탠리?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a
양동이가
wave
그렇게
of
중요한 거야?
comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
이제 그 새로운 컨텐츠 그건 끝났나? 완벽주의자의 직감을 믿어라. 전부 찾으면 보상이 있을 것이다. 아, 이거 6개를 찾으면 뭐가 있나? 계단, 빨강, 파랑, 중요한 사람을 위한 냄새나는 사적인 장소. 어디 있는지 힌트가 있긴 있네요. 이거 모아 보라는 건가? 나 근데 이런 거 모으는 거 나는 싫어하는데 귀찮아.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
하지만
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
여기로
But
오면
Stanley
뭐지?
just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The
뭐
bucket
반복되고
returned his
있는 것
gaze,
같은데?
but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps.
아니, 양동이에
How
왜 이렇게
did I end
집착하는
up with
거야?
someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this.
갖다
Who
버렸어?
knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground.
느낌 안 되는데?
Oh, gracious, he
오,
exclaimed.
몸이
Without my
뜬다.
bucket, I've gone truly
뭐.
mad. Where is it? I must find it.
아니, 양동이
Far off in the distance now, he
어디다
heard
어디는
calling
거야?
to him. Stanley, Stanley, it's me,
양동이
the bucket.
선배주사입니다.
Could it truly be? He rushed
순간이
forward from room to
앞서갑니다.
room, passing by one
공중에
bucket after
떴어요.
the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special
여기 있네
bucket.
양동이들.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me. He had to find the bucket. He
이
had to
양동이
return
어디
to his old
있는데?
friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from.
어디서 나오는데?
The real
이건가?
bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony.
뭐야? 왜 뭐지? 뭐 하자는 거지?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
마리엘란 누구야?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
뭐지? 이 양동이 나오고 나서부터 뭐 이해를 못하겠는데? 그냥 받아들이면 되나? 이해하려고 하지 말고
All of his
양동이를
co-workers were
온몸으로
gone.
받아들이면 되나?
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. The confusion and the chaos all
양동
seemed to
저거
melt
뭐야?
away as
오
Stanley
사람이다.
embraced the bucket.
사람이 있어. 처음 봐. 이 게임에서 사람 나오는 거 처음 봐. 어떻게 가야 저걸 만날 수 있지? 오 사람이 있는데요? 이제 죄다 잠겨가지고. 아니 사람이 어떻게 사람이 있지? 저쪽으로 넘어갔는데? 저쪽으로 가는 길이 혹시 뭐 따로 있나?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
창고도 들어가는 뭐가 있네, 따로 있네. 이걸 해야만 뭐 할 수 있는 건가? 그냥 무슨 일이 일어났는지 우리한테 말해주면 안 되나? 이 조사나 이 방이나 솔직히 겁나 의미 없어 보여. 여기 열리네.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The
뭐가요?
broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura
아니요.
of jealousy. It's
전혀요.
as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the
전혀요.
bucket. I can really feel it now.
전혀요.
It's a bucket. Coming to a staircase. Stanley and the
전혀요.
bucket walked
어.
upstairs to the boss's office.
그런 느낌은 전혀 들지 않는데요.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover
그냥 이
not an
상태로
indication
끝내면
of
또
any
그냥
human
그런
life.
엔딩이 나오는 건가?
Crushed by the
아이고.
weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the... But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
양동이 도대체 뭐임? 그냥 받아들여야 될 것 같은데 받아들이지 못하고 계속 이해하고 싶어지네.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
일로 나가서 원래 끄면은 그게 엔딩인데
The lights rose on an enormous room packed
하라는
with
대로 해야 원래
television
엔딩을 볼 수가
screens.
있는 거구나.
What horrible secret did this place hold?
이번에는
Stanley and the
켜볼까?
bucket both wondered to themselves.
그냥 믿으면 돼요? 양동이를? 아니 양동이가 뭔데? 아씨 납득이 안 되네. 나도 납득하고 싶다.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into
양동이가
tears
울었다고?
as Stanley
양동이를
cradled
추가함으로써
it
전혀
gently,
새로운
reassuring
게임이
it that everything
충분히
would be fine.
감사합니다. 그냥 그건가? 양동이가 들어옴으로써 완전 새로운 게임이 됐다 이거야?
Was the bucket under the
이건
mind
너무
control
리얼이라 가지고
facility's influence as well?
개그가
Had the
아니라
bucket been told to
날로
do things
먹기인데?
it didn't wish to do?
그걸 실제로
Kinds of
해버리는
things
개그인
does a
건가?
bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raised furiously in Stanley's fever.
양동이만 그냥 믿으면 돼요?
하고 있습니다.
이상하네.
He screamed into the
뭐야?
bucket. He couldn't accept it.
양-
His own life in someone else's control. Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. and as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good.
이번에는
Two
한번
best friends,
켜보겠습니다.
Stanley
On.
But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on
얘가
the
누른 거야?
controls. Stanley gasped in horror.
내가 누른
Had
건데?
this
다
been the
양동이야?
bucket's plan all along?
아니 내가
To
했는데
take
다
over
그냥
the machine
양동이야?
and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly
좋아.
birds. The control buttons became active again.
뭐야 이건? 뭐 아무거나 누르면 되나? 와 앵무새다.
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him.
얘 엄청
This
귀엽다 이
wasn't a
노란색.
mind control facility at all.
노란색 엄청
It was a
귀여운데?
facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds
펭귄들 왜 이렇게
all over
가슴을
the world.
이렇게 이러고
The
이러고
mind
걸어다니냐?
controls were only a facade to disguise its true
얘는
intention.
좀 무서운데? 약간 좀 노는 새 같은데?
Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping
얘는
through live streams of the silliest
유도하는
birds
새인가?
imaginable. Of all the
오리다,
possible
오리.
paths his
거기인가?
life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
그래서 이게 뭐죠? 끝이야? 엔딩이야? 아니 뭐야?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to
엔딩이야?
the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed
진짜
a memo.
그냥 이제 끝이에요? 더 이상 그것도 없어?
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
여기 아까 누가 막 지나갔는데? 피규어를 찾아야만
선바님을
좋은가?
위한 엔딩이었습니다.
짱짱맨 감사합니다. 아까 지나가는 그 사람은 뭐였을까? 어? 뭔가 길이 달라진 것 같다? 아닌가?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his
갈수록
left.
양동이한테 주인공 뺏기는 기분.
다 양동이가 있대. 이걸 다 찾아야 되나? 넓은 방, 많은 상자, 빨강,
아니
파랑.
차기작에 무한하게 떨어지는 구멍이랑 이름 불러주는 버튼도 추가해준다고 했는데 왜 안 나오죠? 이거 사기 아닌가요?
그러게요. 이름 불러주는 버튼이랑 무한 구멍 어디감? 왜 안 나옴?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
오직 양동이만.
근데 올라가야 되나? 아까 내려가는 거 이거 했는데? 양동이 든 채로 저거 뭐야 기계 끄면은
아 떡볶이 먹고 싶어지네.
빵망 고양이니 감사합니다. 뭐가 달라지려나?
Stepping into his manager's
똑같으려나?
office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
아무튼 나 양동이야.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley.
진짜 양동 얘기만 하네.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except
이 양동이 모든 걸 알고 있습니다. 갓동이.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
일단 한번 꺼보자. 원래는 이러면 이제 그거 밖으로 나가는 문 열리면서
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over?
QR코드 사이트 계속 새로 고치고 선바입니다.
Yes, they had done it.
진짜요?
Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and
아니 거기
darkest
저기가 너무
enemy,
무서운데?
freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and
감사합니다.
What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? Unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to
양동이 씨, 뭐야? 장부 다시 닫아버리는데?
Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
뭐야? 뭘 알게 되는 거야? 뭐야?
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a
사람이
painting
직접 하는
or a
거라고?
photo? He could no longer recall.
자동으로 하는 게 아니라 사람이 직접 하는 거라고요? 이거 안 들고 가볼까 이번엔? 진짜 저걸 모아야 되나? 콜렉트 저거를?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door and this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
여기서 양동이 안 들면
Perhaps he wanted to stop
근데
by the employee lounge
그냥
first,
대사 똑같은 거
just to
같네.
admire
양동이
it.
들면 근데 그냥 양동이만 언급이 되고.
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deep? But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
여기 뭐 하는 데였지?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
여기 이런 데 왔던 거 기억나는 것 같기도 하고.
게임이네요.
빵시라는 빵순이님 감사합니다.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the
이거
wrong
옛날
foot.
그대로인 것 같기도
I'm not
하고.
sure
저기
anything
저거 있다.
odd. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful. I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
대사도 점점 바뀌긴 한다.
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
아니, 일로 갈 거야. 일로 가서 저쪽으로 나가볼까?
Said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
아니, 그냥 나레이터 목소리가 더 짜증나질 뿐이지. 그대로잖아.
Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because
저기 근데
buckets
어떻게
can't
저거
talk.
먹지?
But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
이쪽으로 내릴 수 있네. 여기는 뭔가 기억이 나는 것 같아. 이런 거 해봤던 것 같아. 말 안 듣기. 모든 곳이 위험합니다.
No, stop.
Oh.
Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets
어디?
past this
그러네.
point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
양동이 공부를 해야 되는 거야? 어디를 연 거지? 아, 이쪽이구나.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
네.
Incorrect.
아니야?
It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 2.
아니, 다 똑같잖아.
Is this
양동이잖아.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual
아,
bucket.
양동이의 이데아만 오직 양동인 건가? 나머진 다 가짜 양동이고?
Item 3.
그러면은
Is this a bucket?
아닌가 보지. 아니야?
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
그냥 억가를 하고 싶은 것 같은데.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
아이 양동이님 못 알아봐서 죄송합니다.
이거 양동이냐고?
Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket.
다행이다.
To be honest, I just sort of put this one in here
양동인 줄.
but I was starting to get
양동인 줄.
concerned that even this might be
다행이다.
too much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one.
틀릴걸.
Is this a bucket?
아니?
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
아니 왜 양동인지 설명 안 해줘? 그냥 양동이라면 양동이야? 저걸 양동이라 부르면 곤란한데?
Is this a bucket?
나 나갈래. 양동이.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
어떻게 양동이면서 양동이가 아닐 수
Wait,
있죠?
hold on. I can't find
어떻게
the next
해야
one.
가능하죠?
Let me see.
설명 좀
Should be around
해줘봐.
here somewhere.
설명을 해줘. 어떻게 한 물건이 양동이면서 양동이가 아닐 수가
진짜
있지?
이 게임 킹받네.
이건 뭐지? 양동이야.
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something. And therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
열받지 왜 이렇게? 여기 약간 진짜로 열받는데? 아무것도 없는 것이 곧 양동이야.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
좋다. 다 없애버려.
Here we go.
다 없애버려, 양동이. 됐나? 다시 처음부터
What
가나?
happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything
모든 것이
disappear?
양동이야?
Was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. My God, I had no idea. How could...
bucket.
Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets.
자꾸 양동이
I
하니까
actually feel much
뭔가
more at ease right now.
이상해져.
It's delightful to get some clarity
다양동
on that
같아.
issue. But it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game.
이젠 양동이라는
So,
글자가
그러니까요.
어색해지기
양동이란 글자가
I'll
이상해.
reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all
가양동 부르는
a
것
bucket.
같아.
But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
다시 리셋인가? 뭔가 맵이 많이 바뀌었는데?
The good old
가양동이도
bucket.
양동이입니다.
Just Stanley and the bucket.
감사합니다.
Off on another. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest.
또야?
Entered the door on his lap. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
아니?
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question
저
why
아래
or
내려갈
how
수도
this
있었던 것
bucket was
같은데.
speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here, said the bucket. Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
여기로 들어가라고? 너무 어두운데? 오... 뭐야?
Now pick up the phone,
Said the bucket.
pick up the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
전화 안 받으면? 받기 싫은데? 전화 안 받을래.
Whoa, hold on.
아, 전화가
Why
뽑을
did
수가
you
있구나.
unplug the
뽑았네.
phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk.
It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket. Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
뭘 본 거야, 얘?
What
깜짝이야.
is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good
후려치는 것
comedic timing.
같은데?
To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
I'm Danny with the funny.
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys.
돌멩이
Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence and to very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated,
원래
isn't
있는
it?
건가,
Well,
이것도?
no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then.
그래서
So with
봤던
that
건가,
in
이거?
mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
다시 돌아가?
세 번 보면 죽는 영상 같은데
짱만만이 감사합니다. 이 뭐가 새로운 컨텐츠고 뭐가 옛날 건지가 기억이 안 나네. 뭔가 다 봤던 것 같기도 하고 아닌 것 같기도 하고. 그죠? 너무 혼란스러워.
I can feel
다시
it.
돌아가?
This time, I'm really going to nail the
이번에
delivery.
이거
You'll
철조망
be in
달아놨어.
stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a
점프 못하게
hilarious
여기다가
concept.
철조망
The
달아놨어.
king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley. The bucket spoke. The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
다시 돌아가자고? 진짜 돌아가네.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
오른쪽.
What? We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point, a dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land, or not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the 2 doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again. Yes, surely that will help me improve my...
그거 또 봐?
Here we go. You ready?
또 보고 다시
When
돌아왔구나.
Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open
이러면은
doors,
그냥
they
끝까지
entered the door
가보고
on the
싶어지죠?
left.
자, 다시 오른쪽. 바로 전화기 방이네.
What? We're back at the phone already? No.
이거 옛날에 있었던 거죠?
When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. What? We're back at the phone already? No. Here we go. You ready? When
이렇게
Stanley and the
가면은
bucket
그냥
came to a
무조건
set of 2
영어인가?
open doors, they entered the door
계속
on the
간다고 뭐가 안
left.
바뀌나? 계속 간다고 안 바뀌나?
What? We're back at the phone already?
그대로네.
Here
완전
we go.
똑같네.
You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered
한
the
번만 더
door on the
가보고
left.
안 바뀌면 왼쪽 가자. 뭔가 이 여기에만 오는 날 인정해 줬으면 좋겠어, 나레이터가. 바로 보내버리네.
Here we go. You ready?
뭔가 좀 달라진 것 같기도 한데
When
점점
Stanley and the bucket came to a
짧아지는데요?
set of 2 open doors, they
나레이터는
entered the door
농담할 때
on the
농담
left.
끝났습니다라는지라고 말을 안 하니까 구분이 안 되잖아요.
I'm done. With the funny.
What? We're back at the phone already? No.
그대로인가?
Here we go. You ready? When
그대로인가?
Stanley and the bucket came
그만
to a set
갈까?
of
한
2
번만 더 가고
open
싶죠,
doors,
이렇게?
they entered the door on
한
the
번만 더
left.
가보자. 한 번만 더 가보자. 왜 이렇게 한 번만 더 가고 싶지? 뭔가 해줄 것만 같은 그런 느낌.
What? We're back at the phone already?
그대로네. 그대로야.
No.
그대로야.
Here we go. You ready? When
알았어,
Stanley and the
왼쪽으로
bucket
할게.
came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly.
이리로 오니까
There's
또
no way
오른쪽으로
I
가라
can make
그러네.
the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be
이거
shamed
내려가는
at
분 왜
every
다
one of our
막혔냐?
meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you
뭐야?
proud?
뭐야? 어?
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not?
모임?
Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal, I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
모임? 이게 하나의 다시 원래대로 돌아온 것 같다?
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself, that's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
또 있네 저거. 이 나레이션은 옛날 거 같은데 뭔가 음질이랑 목소리가 살짝 달라. 어? 여기 뭐 입력할 수도 있나? 누가 방귀 꼈어?
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his
지금 안
chest
가본 데가
and
있나?
entered the door on his left.
오, 왼쪽으로 가서 그 지하로 내려가는 길 한 번 더 가봐야 되나? 저거 다 모으면 안 줄 것 같기도 하고.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
내려가면 뭐가 있지? 아, 이게 반복되는 데인데? 안 갈래. 여기도 아닌데 내가 가고 싶은 데가? 아, 이러면 또 여기잖아.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
화장실?
Crushed by the weight of this
여기도 이미
revelation,
늦어버렸네요.
Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket.
자, 다시 리셋을 하고.
A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble
아, 이러면 또 뭔가 다른데?
bucket tightly to his chest.
아니요, 화장실을
and entered the door
가보라고요?
on his left. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
뭐가 달라지나? 이게 있구나.
Lately, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by one? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
바보 막대 정도가 적당하지 않을까? 이거 모으려고 여기 온 거구나. 그치만 저긴 더 이상 이게 없는데. 일로 가면은
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He
반복이잖아.
considered the
그죠?
possibility of facing his boss, Bucket.
이것도 그냥 다시 시작해도 되나? 먹은 거 쳐주나? 회의실을 가보면 알 수가 있겠죠?
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room. The embrace of an old friend. A weathered companionship that stands the test of time. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
이제 왼쪽에 살 수 있는 거 다, 아까 전에 그건 어딨지? 4개 다 먹었다. 빨강과 파랑 모두 어딘가에서 여기가 어딘지 모르겠네. 오른쪽으로 가서 그 박스 방에도 하나 있거든요.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become
그리고
both
이
of
사이로
those
지나가는
things.
스탠리.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge
근데
was
솔직히
simply
뭐가
the
바뀌었는지 잘
place to
모르겠네.
be.
이거를 개그로
And
친
here it
다음에
was.
그걸
Had the
실제로
bucket turned out
실현해서
to be
웃겨다고
correct? Was
생각을
this
해야 되는
better?
건가?
Never mind. The bucket was wrong.
뭘
Stanley
추가했는지 잘
took the door on
모르겠네.
his
그냥
left to go back to the meeting room.
아 여기 가운데 내려가는 것도 안 해봤네. 아, 전화 받는 거 엔딩이 따로 있어요? 계속 가도 그대로던데?
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there.
여기는
Go
어떻게
to the cargo
넘어가더라?
lift.
여기 떨어지면 죽는데. 여기에 이 밑으로 내려가는 뭔가 길이 어딘가에 뚫려 있을 텐데 어디 있을까? 아 내가 아까 전화선을 뽑아서 그런
Good,
거야?
said the bucket. Now ride the
저기로
lift all the
나가는
way
것도
to the
있을
top.
거고.
There's something up there I need you to
엔딩이
do.
되게 많았던 걸로 기억을
Stanley did
하는데.
not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly
전화선 안
convinced that the
뽑기?
bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here,
Said the bucket.
go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
전화 한번 받아볼까?
Now pick up the
여보세요?
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket.
뭐야?
Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could
집인가?
use a
내
friend.
집이네.
And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
자꾸 바보 만들어. 네가 말 시켰잖아. 네가 양동이 목소리로 나한테 말을 시켰잖아. Stanley, go to the room. Stanley, go to the meeting room. 아 여기 있네.
선바님 오츠스판 같아요.
하이엄니 감사합니다. G.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
아니, 지가 말해놓고 다 스탠리 탓이래.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well?
이게 진짜
To see him
가스라이팅인데.
delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal
이게 진짜
object.
리얼인데 이게.
I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me. Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location.
양동
That's
있으면
it.
근데 엔더 드래곤
It
잡다
doesn't
살
do
수도 있는데.
anything else.
명치워투님 25개월 구독 감사합니다. 양동이 얼마나 중요한데 한번 물락법으로 살 수도 있다고.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket.
선로아님
You
15개월
know,
구독
once upon a time
감사합니다.
it was me he took orders from, me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket, this stupid hunk of metal. It's sad. I suppose he doesn't need me anymore.
와, 이제 나레이터
From
아저씨랑
now
안
on,
놀고
he's just
양동이랑
going to
놀아서
cling to
아쉬운
this
거야?
bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it. Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average
왜
hardware
양동이 여기서
store
TV 보고
bucket.
있냐?
It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
뭐 자판을 다 누르게 만드네. 잠깐만.
Oh my
깜짝이야.
God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
오케이.
Oh no. I'm having feelings for the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say.
아니,
Do anything it
뭐야,
asks.
이거?
What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The
왜
bucket
그래?
could tell me
정신
what to
차려.
do in this troublesome
뭘
situation.
하려고 이러는 거야?
Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley.
싫어요.
I need it.
내
Give it to me now.
양동이야.
Give it or
내
I'll...
양동이라고. 다시 일하러 가, 스탠리. 이게 양동이 엔딩인가? 이게 양동이 엔딩인가요? 아니 어이가 없네 근데.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by
여러가지
himself
박박님
and
천원
constantly needed
감사합니다.
support and guidance from others. So the thought of total
여기 원래
solitude was
이랬나?
terrifying to him.
And is never.
Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed. Stanley
여기서
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest, and this was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket
내려가는
calling to
길이
him,
있지 않을까?
telling him that the employee lounge
바다할
was
때
simply the
보안님 천원
place to be.
감사합니다. 뭔가
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better
이런
than
거로
the
내려가는 구멍이 있지
Never
않을까?
mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the and so the two
여기서
of them
이렇게
detoured
일로
through the
내려가는
maintenance
길.
section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
맨 처음에 한번 가보고 양동이 들고는 안 가봤으니까 여기도 한번 가보자. 여기가 뭐였더라?
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
와 깜짝이야. 이게 뭐야?
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
아까 여기에 양동이 주는 것도 가능한 것 같았는데 이건 안 되나? 여긴 안 되나? 청소도감이 아까 있었는데 없어졌다. 일단 일로 가볼까요?
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well. Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue? Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up. Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
양동이 왜 부시야? 그래, 부시지 뭐. 부셔.
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket.
스탠리가
I
거부하는데요?
don't know what the bucket destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket.
부셔!
Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the bucket destroyer, you'd see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of bucket destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the bucket destroyer is getting very upset now. You have to hurry and beat it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the adventure line or the bucket destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and
어우.
Bucket destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
이것도 하나의 엔딩이었어?
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped it takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so magnificent. Stanley checked his ego and then
어딘가에
proceeded
숨겨진
onward.
길이 뭐가 있을 텐데.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the
저쪽으로
place to
가는
be.
뭔가 있지 않을까? 여기 있는 모든 문은 다 잠겨 있어가지고.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
아, 이렇게 떨어질 수가 있구나. 여기 아래도 길이 있네. 자, 일단은 요거 하나 먹고.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've
하나
nearly
남았다.
gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
그 다음에 여기서 떨어지면 아마도 죽겠지? 저기 저 벤트를 타보자. 오, 새로운 곳 맞나? 새로운 곳 맞나? 뭐야, 테이프야? 뭐야, 여기? 이런 데가 있었나? 녹음기야?
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number.
누구 목소리지 이거?
I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel.
얘들아 왜 그래 도대체? 왜
I
이렇게
pick it up.
바가지에 이렇게 집착을 하는 거야?
times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure?
아니 무슨 절대 반지야?
I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get...
어?
What's that? Who's there?
누가 있는 거야? 감보라타가 뭐야? 뭐야? 감보라타가 뭐야? 뭐야? 감보라타가 뭐냐고? 어이?
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder
아까
now,
그거 봤던
he would
걘가?
surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
또 내 탓하네 이거를. 아니 마우스가 안 움직이게 이렇게 락을 걸어놓은 다음에 뒤돌아봤으면 뒤돌아봤으면 봤을 거라고 하는 거 이거 뭐임 진짜? 감보라타.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to
다시
him,
한번 거길
telling him
가볼까?
that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had
뭔가
the
다시
bucket
한번
turned out to
가보고
be
싶은 그런
correct? Was this
장소네요.
no? Never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
No.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
또 아까랑 똑같으려나?
Okay, this is day number
아까랑 똑같은 거 같네.
295. Tape number... I
스킵해줘
don't
그럼.
even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore.
똑같은 거면 스킵해줘.
The longer I study this bucket, the less sense
이게
anything makes.
그 양동이를 통해서 재밌는 게 처음으로 나온 것 같아.
Euphoria I feel every
근데 얘가 들고
time
있는 얘가 말하는
I
양동이가
pick it
내가
up.
들고 다니는 그 양동이랑 똑같은
No
건가?
matter how many times I've done it, it's always the
자 이거
same feeling
리셋을 하는 게 나을 것 같은데?
and the emptiness in my
그죠?
chest
그대로죠?
when I said it.
양동이 없이 저기 가볼까?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
자, 양동이 없이 가면 뭐가 있을까요?
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path
이게
that it seemed the
원본인가?
office had begun.
원본가?
So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path.
원래는 여기서 틀어준다는 설정인 건가? 오.
So far off the beaten path. You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording. It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
야, 맨날 내 잘못이래. 끝이야? 그래서 저 방 뭔데? 그냥 그럼 그래서 저 방에 뭔지를 설명을 안 해주네. 그 맛으로 하는 건가?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley's bucket. The
이제
only
뭐
co-worker
어딜 가야 되는 거지? 이거 뭐 하나씩 입력하면서 뭐가 뭐 올라간다 이게? 뭐 한 번 할 때마다 이거 입력할 수 있는 기회가 생기는 건가? 약간 한 칸이었는데 이제 두 칸 됐어. 뭐가 됐든 뭐가 일단 남긴 한 것 같고.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not
이번에는 그 아래 트럭 아래로
Stanley
가보자.
had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was it? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
잠깐만 일단 여기 바닥.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The
여기
cargo lift, yes.
어떻게 안
Go
죽지?
there.
떨어지고도?
Go to the cargo lift.
어떻게 해야 떨어져도 안 죽을 수가 있지 여기서? 일단 한 칸 내려와. 여기 점프도 없는데.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend.
이 정도면...
So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
저것 때문은 아닌데.
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from... Is Stanley, without the bucket, really Stanley at all? No, surely not. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door.
여기를 가봐야 되나? 정신집에 거기 아래로 내려갈 수 있다고? 하나 남은 거 빨강 파랑 모두 그거 어디지? 하나 남았거든요? 빨강 파랑이 모두 있는 데가 청소도 구함.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket.
가죠.
You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now.
가죠.
It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's
가죠.
supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in.
가지라고.
Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket.
아니 가져. 아니야 상관없어.
And lifelong friend.
아니야 친구 아니야. 가져. 그냥 양동이야.
No. We're getting into name calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and
아니야.
lasting
아니
friends?
그리고
That your
다
relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never...
아저씨가 문제가 많네.
Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point.
아니 없어.
Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
아니 없어. 가져 얘들아. 스텔리가 이걸 보내주질 않네요.
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion.
붙였는데?
Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
아니 그게 아니라 가지라니까. 내 의견은 전혀 반영이 안 되는데.
All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I
아니
think
스티커
it's a
그만
proof
붙이고
See,
가지라니까.
I feel that it works because the sticker is
아니
also
뭐하러
a
양동이에다
bucket.
양동이 스티커를 붙여.
That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, "Ah, it's a bucket." There really is a wide variety of applications.
아니 양동이잖아. 그냥 가지라니까요. 제발 가져줘. 내 양동이 제발 대신 그냥 가져줘.
You
필요가
know
없단
what?
말이야.
I could take the name calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
아저씨 나가면은 나는 할 게 없는데. 아니 청소. 근데 어차피 다 그냥 저 아저씨가 하는 말이잖아, 그죠? 속으면 안 됩니다. 나가자.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
빨간색. 여기도 열리네? 비즈니스 전략? 요거 엘리베이터 탈 수가 있네? 오. 잠깐만 올라가 볼까? 여기가 제일 위층인가? 여기 제일 위층인가 본데? 내려가 볼까? 어디로 향하게 될까요, 우리는? 가고 있는 거 맞지? 아닌가? 뭐야, 계속 똑같아. 뭐야? 저거 엘리베이터가 아닌데? 아니 내려가자고요. 여기 그냥 노래 듣는 데인가? 그냥 노래 듣는 데인가 본데? 뭐 움직이질 않는데요? 내려가자니까? 내려와도 여기고 올라와도 여긴데? 노래는 좋으니까 그걸로 만족하면 되나? 노래 좋았으면 됐지. 똑같은 데 맞죠? 그런 느낌이 들었어. 돈은 훔치려고 쓰는 거야. 물론 네 거 말고. 아무튼 정말 사랑스러운 지갑이야. 뭔 말이지? 돈은 훔치려고 쓰는 거야? 쓰려고 훔치는 것도 아니고 훔치려고 쓴다고? 그러니까 돈을 쓰는 법이 10,000원 써가지고 20,000원 훔치는 법을 연구한다는 뭐 그런 건가? 뭔 소리야?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth... But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it the bucket knew all along? Was the
뭔가
bucket
다른 걸 입력하면은 다른 데가 열렸던 것
This is
같기도 한데
certainly the most logical explanation.
약간 애매한 기억이 있으면 차라리 안 하느니만 안 했던 것만큼도 못한 것 같아. 차라리 아예 모르는 게 낫지. 애매하게 알고 있으면은 오히려 안 좋아. 아예 몰랐으면 좋겠다 차라리. 하지만
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the
옛날에
large door
재밌게
that read,
했었어가지고
Mind
뭔가
Control
애매하게
Facility.
남아있어요 기억이. 여기 이쪽 길 맞나?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
일 다시 시작해야 돼? 여기 아니야? 일대 100방이 어디지? 그 양동이 퀴즈 맞췄던데? 양동이 안 들고?
He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance as Stanley
잠깐만 양동이 들어버렸어. 나도 모르게 그만. 양동이 없이는 삶을 이어나가기 힘들기 때문에. 전화가 오는데요 갑자기? 뭐야? 누구야? 이건가? 이거다.
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation. We are confirming your shipment of 1,327 cardboard boxes to your place of work. Can you verify that this is correct? Excellent. Your order will arrive shortly. Thank you again for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation.
뭐야 이거? 이거 뭔 전화야? 박스 2,000개 시킨 거예요?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
이제 이거 스티커 계속 붙어있네. 박스 이거 시킨 거구나. 그래도 진행이 되긴 되네. 박스 아까 막 2,000개 시켰다 했나? 가득 찼네요.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
근데
Perhaps he wanted
이런
to stop
실수
by the
은근
employee
자주
lounge
나온다는데
first,
회사
just to
생활
admire it.
하면은 막 공 하나 잘못 써가지고
It was okay.
막 볼펜 막 2,000자루 시키고
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first
휴지
open
막
door on
몇만 개
his
시키고
left.
막 이런 거 은근 실제로 일어난다는데. 잠깐만 여기서 어디로 가야 되죠? 여기서 이쪽이었나? 아닌데? 리프트 타다가 떨어진다고? 저 길로 가는
Stanley was so
거?
bad at following directions, it's incredible he
저기
wasn't
그
5
중간에
years
저
ago.
복도로 가는 길 저거 없이.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this
아니
time.
양동이에 맞춰져
There's
있는데.
someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten. Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your
여기구나.
side.
여기네. 찾았다. 마지막.
And there it is. The last Stiggly Wiggly.
맘대로 스티글리 위글리야.
This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done.
진짜 그냥 이게 다야?
Here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
진짜 이게 다야? 진짜 아무것도 안 줘? 에이 설마. 에이 설마.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
싫은데.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
싫은데.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
싫은데.
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well,
그거는 끝났죠 이미. 그 판의 엔딩을 보면서.
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
이게 생긴 건가? 벽.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
1점 드리겠습니다.
A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
어디? 깜짝이야. 뭐야 이건? 진짜 실제예요? 실제로 저건가? 실제 아닌 것 같죠? 내가 꼴찌는 아닐 거 아니야, 그죠? 스탠리 7시간째 플레이도 아닌 것 같은데? 근데 이건 뭔가 이렇게 그럴싸하지? 이건 그럴싸한 것 같아. 친구 목록이 비어 있습니다. 이거는 원본인 것 같다, 그죠? 플레이어 중 98.9%가 스탠리보다 매력적이라는 것을? 당신보다 우수한 플레이어. 죽은 쥐. 그래도 일로 가볼까?
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
1번.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
또 시키나?
In this game, the baby crawls left towards
여기 나왔던 애기구나.
You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
진짜 4시간 해야 돼? 진짜 4시간 해야 돼 이거?
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely
이것도 원본이죠.
valuable. Oh, hey,
확실히
so awful. Why don't we play
원본께
someone else's
그
game,
뭔가
just to ease the pain.
저게 살아
Let's
있는데.
see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
와, 이건 뭐야?
Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about,
이런 게
Stanley?
있었나?
What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted, erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
이런 게 있었어? 아, 필 내려가려면 저쪽으로 가야 되네. 아, 원래는 마크 나왔었어요? 이거 그건가? 산불 관리하는 게임인가? 근데 그 데이즈곤에 나오는 주인공도 이런 데다가 기지 차려놓고 살던데.
It is. It's an open world game.
Open
Good God,
world.
quickly block it off.
오,
Thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call.
저기
You really wandered
소리
off into that thing, that big open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions, no path to follow. You can just go in any. Oh, thank heavens we avoided it.
왜 오픈월드 재밌는데 왜?
Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls.
다른 게임은 뭐 시켜주지?
Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
아니 오픈월드 게임 재밌는데 왜 못하게? 이건 뭐야? 레이싱 게임인가?
See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run
이거
around
그거
in. There wasn't
아닌가?
any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this
그
is
자동차 타고
game
축구
design.
같은 거 하는 게임 아닌가?
Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
로켓 리그인가 그게? 외국 사람들이 많이
Okay,
하던데.
so what exactly do we do here?
우리나라에서는 별로 한
There
사람
are lots
못
of cars
봤고.
here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back
차
here.
운전에
Is this
그
game
막
sports ball?
오버워치
Stanley,
축구 이런
I think it's
것처럼
sports ball. Oh, what fun!
차
We shall
운전해가지고
run the bases and do a touchdown together.
축구하는 그런
Yes,
게임.
I think surely we must.
그건데?
Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
근데 갑자기 이거 왜 시켜주는 거임? 내가 1점 줘서? 내가 그거 뭐지? 재미없다 해서 그런가? 공이 뭐 이렇게 신기하게 생겼어? 폭탄같이 생겼냐? 터질 것 같지?
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on?
와,
Stanley, I have a
꼬인.
thought. And I realize I'm not a...
오!
What are you doing?
골인이 아니잖아. 오.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
이런 데가 있었나? 요것도 뭔가 기억이 나는 것 같아요. 근데 이 기억이 굉장히 왜곡이 되어 있어가지고 내가 맞게 기억하는 건지. 와우. 여긴 어디? 5층은 처음 오는 건 아닌가? (500번대) 사원들이 일하는 데인가? 약간 폐허인데? 뭐임? 내 방이다. 427번. 뭐임? 무슨 의미지? 무엇을 의미하는 거지? 이 희한하게 생긴 컴퓨터는 무엇을, 뭐야?
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back.
이 게임에서는 저 아저씨 없이 뭐 안 되지.
Here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
이러고 다시 리셋인가? 다시 리셋. 잠깐만, 근데 저거 피규어 6개 모았는데 진짜 아무것도 안 되네? 뭐야?
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's just it's those
뭐가
figurines.
되는구나.
Those figures.
그래.
I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness?
No.
Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone?
다시.
I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines.
여기 다시 보내주네.
One more time.
스탠리가 수집 요소를 발견했을 때. 다시 왔다. 추억의 공간. 추억. 여기 지하실이 생긴 거죠? 아까는 없었던 것 같은데. 여기 뭐라 쓴 거야? 애정이 담긴 추억.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6
맞네.
right
여기서
there on
맨
the
첫 번째
screen,
거
but
했었지.
how could we know for certain?
여기 한 개 더 있는 거 아니야,
So
그러면?
innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
아니 이걸 7개를 먹으면 이상해지잖아. 기분이 이상해지잖아. 뭐야? 모임.
And here was the second Stanlerine. You found this one all on your own just by poking around behind the boss's office. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest, back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
여덟 개, 6개 중에 8개.
Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini stand? Can you remember?
세 번째 거 계단 아래요. 근데 이거 맞춰야 되나? 안 맞춰도 될 것 같은데.
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here under the stairs. It was the third one.
Okay.
You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your 3rd time doing anything.
뭐야? 뭐야?
Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a figly in this pink room. Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
그래, 일단 줘봐. 그래, 네 맘대로 해, 그냥. 네 말이 맞아야. 이런 핑크 방은 처음 와보는 곳인데요. 여기는
This was the 5th mini stand, and this one was really something special. It was in the warehouse. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
영상을 또 만들었다고? 이게 여기도 이 감성이 있구나. 보노보노 감성이.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of
보노보노
time
감성이
making that
우리나라에만 있는 게
video, but it was
아니었구나.
8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
불만 넣으면 선바 브이로그라고? 아, 저 정도는 아니지. 내 브이로그 저 정도는 아니지. 어라?
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the
여기.
final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others.
이거 순서가
Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a figly and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other, except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
어디로 가든 똑같네.
And then there was no more, because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone. No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
다시 돌아가자고? 왜? 어째서?
Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I want more.
피규어 무한으로 먹어요.
신간이 감사합니다. 점점 가분수가 되고 있는데?
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
틀어주는 거 아니겠지? 아!
Yeah, I love that video.
아니 그리고 이 핑크 사과방은 도대체 뭐냐고.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room though, a solid room.
아니 15개 2배 많이 먹었는데? 너무 탐욕적이게 컬렉팅했는데요?
A treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Next one. 일로 가야 되나? 사장의 화장실 그러고 보니까 뭐야 여기 아예 막아놨네? 원래도 막아놨으려나? 요거까지 하면은
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too.
17개?
The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going.
그리고 마지막으로 여기
This is it. The very first one we
또 여기?
found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the Figlarines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep
이쪽에
going. What else is there?
출구가 있는데?
What came before this?
출구 여기 거긴가? 그 전시회장인가? 전시회장 왜 이렇게 초라해졌죠? 아 아니구나
Look, it's
전시회장
the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want... Oh, yes! The two doors! Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
왜 이렇게 추억에 빠져 있어?
And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember.
여기 들어오기 전에는 뭐가 있었을까?
Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different.
진행이 되고
I used to
있는 것
make big
같기도 하고.
decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once. I give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go.
옛날 스텔리 어떤
This
게임이냐고요?
is the story of a
이거랑
man
비슷해요.
named Stanley.
거의 똑같아요. 근데 뭔가 미묘하게 달라. 근데 옛날 게 기억이 잘 안 나서 느낌은 다른데 뭐가 어떻게 달랐는지는 설명을 좀 못 해드릴 것 같아요. 다시 하는 거야 그냥?
As Stanley lifted his bucket, he felt a connection to all buckets. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
그냥 다시 하는 건가? 방금 저게 엔딩인가?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. A cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
저 아래로 내려가려면 어떻게 해야 내려갈 수 있을까? 저기서 뛰어도 죽던데. 일단 일로 가면 뭐가 나오려나? 여기도 다 떨어지면 죽을 것 같은 곳인데? 요 정도면.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death,
회의실을
that they might
가보면은
die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
에필로그 보시려면 게임을 5번 재시작하면 됩니다.
그냥 아무것도 안 하고 재시작
The
5번 하면
meeting
돼요?
room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
저기 왼쪽 한번 가보려고. 회의실에 다 모으고 가면은 뭐가
When
좀
Stanley came to a set
달라져
of two
있으려나?
open doors, he entered the door on his left.
여기 써있네. 게임을 완전히 재시작할 것. 뭐야, 이거 왜 자꾸 입력시키는 거야? 왜요? 시작하기 전에 한마디 해도 될까요? 게임을 실행한 2번 모두 실제 시각을 맞춰줘서 감사합니다. 많은 사람들이 심각하게 받아들이지 않거든요. 그냥 12시로 시간을 맞춰놓고 떠나버립니다. 하지만 당신은 실제로 시간을 내서 시각을 맞추시는군요. 정말 감사합니다. 이로써 당신이 이 경험에 신경 쓰고 있다는 걸 알았습니다. 관심이 있다는 것도 말이죠. 전 당신이 설정할 시간이 맞는지조차 알 길이 없지만요. 보답 하나 하죠. 협조를 잘해주셨으니 다음번에 게임을 실행하고 이 화면을 볼 때는 시계를 가장 당신이 좋아하는 시각으로 설정하세요. 마음대로 하세요. 원하는 시간을 고르세요. 정확한 시간이 아니더라도요. 당신은 충분한 자격이 있어요. 자, 이제 게임으로 돌아가겠습니다. 그랬구나. 그냥 검사한 거구나. 게임을 얼마나 열심히 하나. 1214? 좋은데요?
This is the
껐다 키면은
all of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
이렇게
Stanley
하고
decided to go to the
저기에
meeting room.
돌아가도
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
이건 없나? 뭐가 있었는데 꺼버렸다. 뭔가 이름이라고 해가지고 뭔가 의미 있는 정보가 뜬 것 같았는데.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief,
뭐야?
Stanley decided to go up to his
아예
boss's
원래대로
office,
돌아왔네?
hoping he might find an answer there.
아예 원래대로 돌아왔네. 자, 5번을 그러면은 껐다 켜봐야겠네요. 1214 좋아요. 이렇게 하면은 이제 모든 시계가 12시 14분. 당신이 하루 중 가장 좋아하는 시간이죠? 아니면 자기도 모르게 시간을 다시 정확하게 맞추신 건가요? 결국엔 당신의 시간을 정확히 맞추는 것을 얼마나 좋아하는지 알게 됐어요. 이제 저는 12시 14분 이게 얼마나 정확한지 궁금해요. 또 다른 슬라이드를 통해 알아봅시다. 지금 부정확해. 내가 좋아하는 시간 맞추려면 시간이랑은 상관없지 지금. 있잖아요. 시각의 정확성과 상관없이 저는 이 설정을 조정하는데 아주 좋은 시간을 보내고 있답니다. 당신을 더 많이 알게 된 것 같아요. 당신이 설정하길 좋아한다는 것도요. 데이터를 수집하길 잘했네요. 슬라이더가 있으면 좋겠네요. 하지만 가지고 있는 슬라이더 전부 살펴봤어요. 아마도 제가 새로운 슬라이더를 발명해서 당신에 대한 새로운 데이터를 수집할 수 있을 거예요. 어렵진 않을 겁니다. 몇 개 새로 만들어 볼게요. 다음에 게임을 실행할 때쯤엔 준비가 되어 있을 겁니다. 할 때마다 뭐가 생기네? 그러니까 날 자꾸 조사해 얘가. 다시 끄고
개인정보 캐간다 보이스피싱이네.
약간 자꾸 캐가는 것 같고 아까 그 QR코드도 그렇고 지금 세 번째인가? 세 번째인가요? 이것도 저건가? 밝기 조절이 아니라 그냥 시키는 건가? 개와 고양이가 친구가 될 수 있게 슬라이더를 조정하세요. 또 있나? 숫자 9가 될 때까지 하라는 대로 하는 건 뭔가 짜증이 점점 나죠? 뭔가 열받죠? 슬라이더 조정을 중지할 때까지 슬라이더를 조정하세요. 그냥 하긴 누르면 되나? 띠용뽀용이랑 뿌슝빠슝. 난 뿌슝빠슝이 좋아. 뿌슝빠슝이 더 좋아. 슬라이더를 조정하지 마세요. 싫은데? 지금 몇 시인지 아시나요? 네. 지금 생각한 시간이 정확하냐고? 방금 봐서 정확해 이제. 시간이란 뭐죠? 예. 말하지 않은 것 있나요? 예. 도와줘요. 누구야? 네. 뭐야? 누가 도와달라는 거야? 저를 보러 다시 와줄 거죠? 네. 메인 화면에 갇힌 누군가가 있다는 거야? 그래? 지금 더 이상 이제 이 게임 시작을 누르면 나오는 게임에는 뭐가 없고 이 메인 화면에 갇혀 있는 건가? 자, 한 번 더. 한신 감사합니다. 도어를 430번 치기, 스피드런 4분 22초 안에 깨기, 10년 동안 하지 않기. 근데 이거 누가 벌써 뭐 어떻게 했냐? 이거 나온지 오래 나온 건데 이거 시간 돌려가지고 했나 본데. 나도 원본 거는 산지 5년 넘지 않았을까? 지금 몇 시죠? 정말로 정확히 알고 있긴 하나요? 물론 모르겠죠. 사람들은 아무것도 모릅니다. 저와 당신 또한 서로에 대해 모르죠. 그저 남과 같아요. 물론 정확한 사양에 맞춰 게임 설정을 모두 조정했는데 누가 안 했겠어요? 뭔 소리야? 그게 제가 하는 일입니다. 본업이나 다름없죠. 그리고 이제 일은 끝났습니다. 저는 제가 수집할 정보가 없습니다. 당신에 관한 모든 자료를 가능한 한 전부 수집했어요. 아직도 전 당신을 잘 모릅니다. 당신 또한 저에 대해 모르고 있고요. 그리고 우리 둘 다 지금 몇 시인지 모릅니다. 지금 7시 27분. 어떤 설정들은 그냥 관리가 불가한 것 같아요. 하지만 솔직히 말하자면 시계는 게임에서 그 어떤 역할도 하지 않습니다. 다음번에 게임 시작할 때 전 여기 없을 거예요. 하지만 괜찮습니다. 비디오 게임은 원래 혼자 하는 거니까요. 당신은 혼자 있는 것을 좋아하잖아요. 안 그런가요? 그게 제가 당신에 대해 정말로 알게 된 유일한 정보일지도 모르겠습니다. 스탠리 패러블 사서 할 정도면 혼자 있길 좋아하는 사람이라는 건가? 확실히 뭔가 인싸 취향인 사람은 안 할 것 같은 게임이긴 해. 그죠? 이게 뭐야 하고 바로 그냥 아예 구매를 잘 안 할 것 같긴 해. 조정해야 할 설정이 하나도 남았지만 준비되기까지는 시간이 좀 걸릴 수도 있습니다. 제 직무 기술서에는 없지만 괜찮아요. 절 찾을 수 있다면 다시 볼 수 있을 겁니다. 나중에 다시 얘기합시다. 이제 한 번 더 끄면은 5번 되는 건가? 에필로그가 이제 떴구나. 이게 에필로그야? 수많은 해가 지나고 방금이 5번째였어요? 여기 거기잖아. 스킵 버튼 눌러가지고 황폐한 세상. 원본 엔딩이 어땠는지 기억이 안 나네. 그냥 말 안 들었던 기억만 나. 5년 4년 됐을 것 같은데 한지가 아저씨가 빨간 문 들어가라 막 싫어 막 이랬던 기억만 나. 뭐 갑자기 서부의 사막 생존자가 돼버린 거지? 뭐야 이게? 나레이터 아저씨 없어졌어요 금방. 완전 그냥 사막이야 그냥. 꽂혔나? 왜 자꾸 사막으로 날 보내는 뭐 하는 거임? 한시 감사합니다. 해 뜬다. 하늘 이쁘네요. 저는 근데 진짜 나 사막에 가보고 싶어. 추억의 집도 다 무너졌네. 제가 여행 욕심이 별로 없는데 사막은 꼭 가보고 싶어요. 사막을 하루 종일 걸어보고 싶어. 진짜 하고 싶은 여행은 오직 사막 걷기. 모래바람도 맞아보고. 뭐야, 발전기야 이거? 스탠리 패러블 2.
사막 장점, 이쁜 단점, 그 뒤에
한지 감사합니다. 근데 그 장점 하나를 위해 하루 정도 그냥 하염없이 계속 걸어보고 싶어요. 완전 낭만이 있다, 그죠? 뭐야 이거? 쿠키 나인의 블로그? 리뷰 스탠리 패러블 2. 다른 속편들과 마찬가지로 난 원작 스탠리 패러블을 즐겼지만 이건 내가 속편에 얼마나 실망했는지를 보여줍니다. 독창적이라고 주목받던 전작과 달리 스탠리 패러블 2는 지루하고 영감 또한 없으며 팬층을 모욕하기도 한다. 첫 번째 게임의 즐거웠던 부분을 늘리기보단 속편은 아무도 관심 두지 않았던 구역으로 옮겨간다. 무한히 깊은 구멍? 누가 신경 쓴다고? 새로운 엔딩들은 어디 있는가? 스탠리 패러블 1의 어드벤처 라인 같은 재미있는 요소는 대신에 우리는 영감도 없는 피규어를 모으는 사이드 퀘스트를 받는다. 심지어 이런 2편의 전환점조차 불완전하게 느껴진다. 모든 피규어를 모아도 아무것도 주지 않는다. 그래도 한마디 하자면 나는 나 자신이 양동이에게서 꽤나 안정감을 얻는다는 것을 알아냈는데 지들이 쓴 거죠 이거. 지들이 쓴 거죠. 동물 타임즈. 캣독 탄생하다. 과학자들이 잡종인을 증명. 이거 뭐야? 이거 그거잖아. 이름 불러. 짐 버튼이잖아. 스탠리 패러블 개발자들. 스피노프도 없고 속편도 없다. 2013년에 큰 성공과 함께 출시되었을 때 개발자들은 게임을 하나의 프랜차이즈로 만들려고 계획했다. 하지만 스탠리 패러블 2에 대한 치명적인 비판과 상업적 이유는 오늘 출판된 보도자료에서 기술된 대로 개발자들에게 그들의 야망을 제고하게 하였다. 팬들이 원하는 것은 단순히 더 많은 스탠리 패러블이 아니라는 것이 확실해졌다. 보도자료에서는 우리는 플레이어들이 만족할 시리즈에 대해 비전이 있었지만 이젠 이것이 사실과 거리가 멀 수도 있다는 것이 밝혀졌다라고 쓰여있다. 보도자료에서는 계속해서 원작의 예술적 완전성을 보존할 것과 무모하고 모욕적인 비전으로 팬들을 괴롭게 하는 것을 멈추겠다고 약속한다. 또한 보도자료에는 죄송합니다 라는 단어가 25번 이상 나온다. 죄송합니다. 솔직히 뭔가 별게 없긴 해. 1은 진짜 그 당시에 좀 진짜 획을 긋는 그런 게 있었는데 2는 이렇게 은근슬쩍 뭔가 빠져나가려는 것 같아서 오히려 안 좋아. 이거 그거잖아. 이거 잔뜩 모은 19개, 20개. 아니 이렇게 해놓은 거 이렇게 하고 있으면 막 바보 되는 것 같아. 응? 바보 되는 것 같다고. 하지만 안 모으기도 그렇죠. 뭔가 어쩔 수가 없죠. 저거 어떻게 안 모으고 지나가. 새로운 컨텐츠를 플레이해주셔서 감사합니다. 누구 컴퓨터야 이거? 뭐임? 얘구나. 얘가 그 처음에 저 밝기 조정해주고 시간 맞춰달라는 걔구나. 다시 만나 반갑습니다. 하지만 더는 스탠리 패러블 게임이 없으리라는 것을 알게 된 건 끔찍하군요. 개발자들이 뭐라고 했는지 읽어보셨죠? 프랜차이즈 완전성 유지? 말도 안 됩니다. 스탠리 패러블은 신성하지도 않고 보호할 필요도 없습니다. 유산은 엿이나 먹으라지. 태양이 폭발할 때까지 스탠리 패러블 게임을 계속 만들어 나가 봅시다. 이 프랜차이즈를 철저히 운영해 보자고요. 진흙탕을 헤쳐나가며 뒤에서부터 끌고 나갑시다. 사람들이 싫어하면 어쩔 거냐고요? 알게 뭡니까? 아시다시피 그건 내레이터의 문제였습니다. 그는 사람들이 그의 작품을 어떻게 생각하느냐에 너무 집착했죠. 똑같은 실수하지 마시길. 유산에 연연하지 마시고 불타게 내버려 두세요. 어렵지 않습니다. 사실 제가 보여드리죠. 내레이터는 약간 그 예술성과 작품성 약간 이런 걸 추구하는 애고, 얘는 뇌절로 욕먹더라도 돈 벌어야지 약간 이 느낌이네. 그죠? 많은 작품들이 완전성을 버리고 뇌절로 가서 욕을 많이 먹긴 하는데, 안 내는 것보다 내는 게 나은 것 같기도 해요, 저는. 그죠? 굳이 어차피 팬들은 뭐라도 나오면 안 나오는 것보다는 좋아하고, 저같이 원작충들은 그냥 원작만 보면 되거든요. 나온다고 꼭 해야 될 필요는 없잖아. 좋아할 필요도 없고. 우리는 함께 스탠리 패러블 3를 만들어 나갈 것입니다. 간단해요. 게임 타이틀 화면에서 숫자를 바꾸기만 하면 됩니다. 또한 이 게임을 위해 크고 화려하지만 정말로 멍청해 보이는 부제목이 필요하죠. 어서요. 우리 게임의 새로운 제목을 만들기 위해 임의의 단어들을 조합해보세요. 근데 또 이렇게 약간 예술성과 완성도 이런 걸 추구하는 사람들이 또 있어줘야 진짜 또 명작이 나오는 것 같기도 하고. 쉽지 않지. 스탠리 패러블 3 당연히 제왕의 구멍 아닐까요? 당연한 거 아니야? 스탠리 패러블 3 제왕의 구멍 우스꽝스럽군요. 마음에 듭니다. 게임을 다시 시작할 때마다 속편의 수를 하나씩 추가한 다음 새로운 부제를 골라내겠습니다. 그렇게 된다면 스탠리 패러블은 영원히 끝나지 않겠죠. 당신이 이걸 계속하더라도 게임 그 자체는 아무것도 변하지 않을 것입니다. 숭돌이님 감사합니다. 더 많은 콘텐츠를 추가하는 것은 마치 작업처럼 느껴지죠. 그럴 필요 없습니다. 그냥 똑같은 내용일 뿐이고 계속해서 재활용되며 새로운 메인 화면이 나올 거예요. 아, 이런 게임들이 이렇게 있는데 어떻게 생각하시나요? 이 계획을 추진해야 할까요? 저야 좋지만 당신에게도 발언권이 있었으면 좋겠습니다. 하자. 3 만들어. 좋아요. 동의하신 거죠? 이제 게임을 새로 시작할 때마다 새로운 속편이 제작될 겁니다. 제 아이디어를 믿어주신 것에 대해 저도 뭔가 보답해드리고 싶습니다. 저는 내레이터가 당신에게 고장난 도전과제를 줄 방법을 찾지 못했다는 걸 알게 됐습니다. 그가 방법을 찾았나요? 물론 아니겠죠. 기대도 안 했습니다. 계속 그게 거슬리더군요. 제가 고쳐놓겠습니다. 좋아요. 다 됐습니다. 도전과제 기계가 완전히 수리되었어요. 보셨죠? 저는 당신 편입니다. 한 대를 탄 거니까요. 우리는 이 배를 계속 유지해야 합니다. 스탠리 패러블은 절대 끝날 수 없습니다. 계속해서 굴레를 반복해야 하죠. 영원히. 저는 계속 방향타를 돌려내야 합니다. 전 준비됐습니다. 당신도 준비되셨나요? 좋습니다. 이제 해야 할 것이 딱 한 가지 남았습니다. 현재 시각을 입력하세요. 네, 이 시간 입력하라면 나는 근데 착하게 잘 입력한다고. 지금 39분이거든요. 감사합니다. 스탠리 패러블을 재밌게 즐겨주세요. 쓰리 어설프게 붙어있는 거 킹받네. 이 띄어쓰기 안하고 차 한 대 지나갔는데 또 지나가는 것도 열받네. 이렇게 뺑뺑뺑 돌고 있나? 잠깐만, 이러면 에필로그로 들어가야 되나? 시작으로 들어가야 되나? 이렇게 들어가면 똑같나? 이렇게 가면 그냥 스탠리 패러블 켜지는 건가? 그러네.
재시작하면 스탠리 패러블 8에도 뭔가가 있습니다.
이유인이 그게 8888 그건가? 이렇게 완전 껐다가 키면은 이제 스탠리 패러블 4가 되는 건가? 내가 이상한 거야? 아니면 챔피언? 아, 이거 계속 할 수도 있나? 아, 그건 안 되네. 2개밖에 안 되네. 그건 아쉽네요. 내가 이상한 거야? 아니면 챔피언? 진짜 상관없이 막 만드네. 에필로그. 여기 들어가면은 또 그 사막 그 화면 봐야 되나? 그냥 끄고 다시 시작하는 게 좋겠죠? 5를 만들게. 이거는 저는 솔직하게 말하면은 위에 타이틀만 바뀌고 내용이 똑같다 이 설명을 듣고 포켓몬이 떠올랐어요. 근데 포켓몬 계속 똑같아서 재밌다고. 그걸 즐긴다고 바보는 아니라고. 이름만 바꿔가지고 무한으로 시리즈 나오는 거 그렇게 해도 재밌다고. 재밌는 건 내가 이상한 거야? 아니면 컴퓨터 바이러스? 당신은 지금 현재에 있습니다. 이 사람 누구야 도대체? 아니 조카 그 12살 생일 축하한다 조카 그 풍선은 절대 안 보여주는 건가? 까마귀가 도대체 몇 마리가 있는 거죠? 주머니에 가득 찬 남자친구. 이게 그 사람인가? 이 게임 뭔가 재밌어 보이는데? 주머니에 가득 찬 남자친구. 크로우. 이 자기 이름 알리려고 하는 거 아닌가 하는 생각까지 들어버리네. 계속 저 앞에 저걸 꼭 보여주는 게. 스탠리 패러블 7. 스탠리 vs 악어. 아 이쪽은 안돼. 스탠리 vs 구멍. 비가 오고 있죠 왜? 자 이제 8인가? 외우겠어. 스탠리 패러블 8. 치명적인 아기. 약간 위험해 보이는데 너무 치명적인 악이 아닌가요? 8 이거 근데 무한히 계속 바뀌나 진짜? 이런 거 한 100개 만들어놨나? 저 상태에서 플레이를 해봤어야 되나? 8에 뭐 딱히 뭐 없는데? 9까지 왔다. 금지된 컨텐츠. 재밌어 보이는데? 이렇게 시작하면은 그냥 그대로고. 여기 막 뭐
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
뭐 막 다운받고 있어지는 그 비번이 한 칸씩 올라가는 뭐가 있었는데 모르겠다. 이제 더 이상 뭐가 없나? 그 아이스크림. 아니 언제까지 이거 늘어나는 거야?
자판기처럼 모니터 뒤에서 계속 메인 제작하는
제작자님
중입니다.
감사합니다.
그만하세요.
아니 4분의 1에 427. 아니 이게 뭐야? 계속 이것만 해? 킬 때마다 이거 한 몇백 개 준비했나 본데? 이게 끝이야? 이게 끝이에요? 그러진 않을 것 같아. 아닌가? 그럴 수도 있을 것 같아. 얘네는 뭘 해도 이상하지가 않네. 진격의 남자친구. 왜 이렇게 남자친구가 많아? 아니 남자친구 코 왜 이렇게 커? 나름 이게 저게 있는 건가? 이거에 따라서 최대한 어울리게 만들어주나? 순간이 감사합니다. 이게 다예요? 만약에 아니라고 했으면 어떻게 되는 거지?
스탠리 패러블 8회 게임 시작 누르셨어야 했는데 양동이 들고 새로운 컨텐츠 기기요.
아, A세만 되는 뭐가 있는 거야? 잠깐만 이번에 그러면은 안 만든다로 해보자. 에필로그 들어가서 다시 기다린 다음에 안 만든다로 해볼게. 이거 무한히 나오는 것 같은데 이거는? 절대로 끝이 존재하지 않는 구멍. 이상한 거 누르면 맨날 얘 나와. 에필로그 들어갑니다. 어차피 얘랑 얘기를 해야 된다는 거죠. 또 오셨군요. 다시 만나 반갑습니다. 저는 스탠리 패러블 게임이 없으리란 것을 알게 된 건 끔찍하군요. 아까랑 똑같네. 말도 안 됩니다. 신성하지도 않고 보호할 필요도 없습니다. 계속 만들어 봅시다. 4절, 4절까지 합시다. 작품성이 뭐가 중요합니까? 계속 찍어냅시다. 스탠리 패러블 14를 또 만들자고? 아이 싫어. 아 싫어. 스텔리의 작은 사과. 영원히 끝나지 않겠죠? 자, 하지마. 하지 말자. 이해합니다. 가끔 앞으로 나아가기 힘들 때도 있죠. 괜찮습니다. 만약 생각이 바뀌어서 새로운 속편을 만들고 싶으면 다시 저에게 말을 걸러오세요. 전 바로 이곳에 있으니. 뭐야? 끝이야? 뭐야? 뭐야? 이게 다야? 뭐 다른 건 없어? 무조건 속편 만들어야 돼? 이거 왜 이렇게 성의가 없어지냐? 나갔다 오면은 한 14개까지만 13개까지만 열심히 만든 건가? 아, 내가 15 만들자고를 안 했구나. 이래서 이제 돌아와도 새로 안 만드는구나. 그럼 뭐야? 이게 다야? 뭐가 남아있는 거죠? 너무 찝찝한데? 뭐가 남아있으리라 믿는데? 8에서 뭘 했어야 됐다는데 제가 그냥 넘어가서. 이게 다야?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
다른 엔딩 뭐 남았지? 이거 들고 가도 돼요? 들고 화장실 가면 돼? 이거 다시 또 열렸네? 여길 가야 되나? 이거 다시 또 열렸는데? 원래 없었는데 또?
Oh, new content?
모르겠네.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
이거 약간 그 진엔딩 같은 개념이
Still
없나?
no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office
원래가
was
기억이
where
안
he'd find
나가지고.
answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
뉴 콘텐츠에서 무한한 구멍에 계속 들어가면 엔딩 있어요.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Now this, Stanley thought to himself, this
거기 가지
is
말라는데?
Oh, new content? What does that mean? New content.
이거 맨 처음 그건가? 그거네.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on
아니
home
이제
computers.
그런 건 없는 거야? 뭔가
After
뭐랄까
receiving critical and commercial
지금까지
success, it was
했던
expanded
뭔가를
upon
이렇게
in 2022
보상 받는
with the
듯한 기분이
Stanley Parable
드는
Ultra Deluxe,
그러한
a
연출이
reimagining of the game for consoles and
그런
home
엔딩은 없는
computers.
거예요?
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features
그냥
exciting new content
뭔가 이렇게
that broadens and expands the world of the
찝찝하게
Stanley
끝나는
Parable,
건가?
delighting
원래
audiences
그랬나?
the world over.
아 그래요?
엔딩의 개념이 없는
Please
게임이었습니다.
내가
step
머릿속으로
inside
내가
and see
만들어냈나
what
보네.
thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley
뭔가
Parable
훌륭한 엔딩이 있었다고
Ultra
기억이
Deluxe.
되는데
Oh, well, this sounds delightful.
내가
I'm
스스로
very excited
만든
to see the
개념인가?
thrilling new ultra deluxe content. Wait, Stanley. I've just now realized.
머릿속에서
that
진짜
bucket you're holding,
얘네 말대로
it's the
시간이
bucket I've
지나서
been working on for
이해를
my
했나?
sequel. How did you get your hands on it? Isn't this the preview to the sequel?
진짜 그런
How do you
것인가?
have the bucket
뭔가
already?
두렵네.
This makes no sense at all.
아니, 근데 그때만 해도 이 게임 방식 자체가 되게 신선해가지고 그런 식의 보정이 생길 수도 있을 것 같아. 이 아저씨가 말 이렇게 하면서 진행하는 게, 야 이거는 충전 절대 안 해주네.
Alright, let's see it's the jump
야
circle.
이거 충전 좀 해줘라. 지금 14탄 아니야? 스탠리 패러블 14인데.
The infinite hole, the giant door. Did you see them already? Stanley, none of them are ready yet. I'm
그러니까
still
이거 너무
developing.
뭔가
They're not even
자기들
close to
이
finished.
욕하는
How did
그
they look?
대상이
When you
내가
saw
되겠다
them,
약간
were they
뭐라 해야 되지?
captivating? Were they exciting?
뭔가
Did they fulfill the
배짱
promise
같은
of
느낌도
everything
나고.
that a sequel to Stanley
모르겠네.
Parable could possibly be? Had I figured out how the hell to make a sequel to this game? Wait. If you're still carrying
아
the
이거
bucket around
아예
with
반복을 해야
you,
되나?
if the bucket
저기까지
is
가려면?
interesting to you, that means I must have made it correctly. Yes, you carrying the bucket with you everywhere is exactly what I set out to accomplish. The bucket is the exciting and captivating new content that I promised. I did it! I win! I made a sequel to the Stanley Parable. Yes, the sign is correct. Thank you for enjoying the new content. Thank you for taking the bucket everywhere with you, clinging tightly to the bucket, never letting it go. It means I've won. It means I am victorious over the gamers. It is a sweet salve of victory on my soul. Thank you for enjoying the new content. The bucket is the Stanley Parable now. They are one and the same. There is no Stanley Parable without the bucket. I win, 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 I win.
그치야? 뭐야? 이거 들고 오면은 이런 이것도 엔딩이었어 하나에?
나레이션
시간이
아저씨
감사합니다.
All of
진짜
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
아니
Stanley decided to go to the
그래도
meeting.
뭔가
Perhaps he
엔딩이
had
두 배로
simply
늘어나긴
missed the
했어요.
No matter how hard
양동이
Stanley
들고 있을
looked,
때랑
he
맨손일
couldn't
때랑
find
이렇게
a trace of his
해가지고 두 배로
co-workers.
늘어나긴 했어. 근데 일단 여기까지 하도록 하겠습니다. 뭔가 뭐가 마진이 남아있는 것 같긴 한데 그렇게 막 파고들 만한 그런 어떤 동기는 잘 안 생기는 것 같습니다. 그래서 스탠리 패러블 울트라 디럭스 여기까지 하도록 하겠습니다. 그게 굳이 울트라 디럭스라고 울트라를 넣은 것도 약간 자아 개그인가? 아예 다 삭제가 됐다면 좋았을 텐데 은근히 남아있어가지고 17년 3월 1일에 마지막에 했네. 그러면은 5년 3달 남았다. 5년 동안 안하기 도전과제 깰 때까지 이제 3달 남았다. 아닌데? 3달 남은 게 아니라 지난 거 아니야? 원본은 어땠는지 한번 들어가나 볼까? 설치하면 이게 딱 되려나? 5년 지났단 말이야, 그죠? 어우, 옛날 게임이라 가지고 이거 해상도부터가 안 맞네.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked.
많이 좋아졌네. 이 그대로 되게 좋아졌네 그래픽이랑.
All of his co-workers were gone.
이거 왜 옛날에 왜 2시간밖에 안 했지? 이거 오래 한 것 같았는데. 기억은 진짜 믿을 게 못 된다. 자, 한번 해봤습니다. 이거 됐다. 5년 동안 안 하기 달성. 이거 설치를 해야 이게 깔리는 거구나. 드디어 달성. 근데 다음은 뭐냐? 울트라 디럭스 같은 경우는 이제 10년이에요. 2032년 6월 8일까지 하지 말아야 됩니다. 10년이에요. 그때 또 이걸 달성하는 것을 다 함께 볼 수 있을지. 그렇다면 정말 감동적이겠군요.